Is there anything in my teeth?
No, you good. Go.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, everybody. Welcome to the Off the Rails podcast. I am your host, Travis, and that is your other host there.
Mitch.
What's up, buddy? How is
How
life
you?
going?
Man, I tell you what, it couldn't be no better. Couldn't be no
Right?
better.
Some moments I feel like I'm hanging in like a hair in a biscuit, and some days I think if I was even better, I'd have to be twins to share it with somebody.
That's right. We've had a good run for the last couple of months. I'm getting nervous. I'm getting nervous. We've had too good of a run. It's been a little bit too relaxed around here, you know.
Well, I broke another pocket hole bit today, so there you go.
Oh, well, you're taking all the brunt then.
Yeah, all of it. All of it. Yes. Yes.
Well, you keep it up there where you live. Don't bring it down here.
I hear you. Well, welcome to another episode. It's going to be a good one. We've got a awesome interview coming up in the second segment. We're not going to spoil it right now because you might leave and skip ahead. So you just got to wait and see if it might be worth it or not. But it's a really good interview. Great dude. We had just a blast. We asked for 30 to 45 minutes. We hit like an hour and 5 minutes and was like having to physically pull back on the reins. The conversation was just flying. I mean, it was fun.
I bet we could have stayed there 3 hours with him.
Easy.
It was, that was so much fun.
And got a lot of information too. Like it wasn't just random, but it was good. It was a lot of fun. But we really appreciate him for being on. We'll introduce him in a little bit, but give me a little shop update. What's new?
Well, we've got we killed it yesterday. We cut out all the plywood for a full house, assembled all the face frames, drilled all the verticals for shelf supports, cut all the toe kick, what we call shorts, right? The toe kick, the nail bands, the overhead nail bands, all that stuff. Got all those miter.
Really good video in the Woodworkers Exchange group with your radial arm saw and your toe kick set up.
Yeah, man, that was, so the way we did it was with a miter saw. We had to put a jig in the throat plate of the miter saw, bump the wood up to it, remove the jig, then make your cut, and then reset it all for every one of them.
Yeah.
So, in the theme of efficiency, I was like, I want to be able to have one setup and roll with it all the time. So I kind of put Trey in charge of that, and he came up with a super cool jig.
Yeah.
We got it in on the Super 900. That's just a cool name, ain't it?
Right. I mean, I wish I had a car named the Super 900.
Right. So Delta's got a Super 900 small radial arm saw, but anyway, we got it set up, and man, it is flawless. I love it. It works really good. So we got all that done.
You need to post that one in another place that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But for those of you who are not familiar yet, we do have our own Facebook group. It is called the Woodworkers Exchange. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But we're kind of running that thing and putting some content in there. And it's getting a little bit of a following. But he posted a really good video on that saw and the setup and the stop and everything. But check that out, the Woodworkers Exchange. It's just a free exchange of information to help the industry. If it helps the industry, we'll allow it. If you're poo-pooing on somebody, that's the only thing we pretty much won't allow is just don't be negative to somebody. Give some kind of constructive criticism, even if it's a little edgy. We'll let it slide as long as it's constructive.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and get in there and post, man. Post. We got your back. If you go in there and you post something, a question or your way of doing something. And if people start poo-pooing on you, we'll shut it down. We're not gonna have that. But don't be scared to post anything. I mean, it's a great place. I'm gonna be posting a lot of stuff, kind of that we do here at the shop, just little random, tidbits. I'll be posting that in there. But yeah, Woodworkers Exchange. Go on Facebook, follow it or whatever, join it, whatever you want to do. So we got everything cut in one day. Got everything ready for assembly.
How many sheets, roughly? What are we talking?
53.
Wow. It's a big day.
Yep, 53. And that's right on the threshold of 8 hours. The first hour of the day is a wash here. We drink coffee, we talk, we, mess with each other about stuff. We kind of loosely get a plan of what we're going to do. Probably a bathroom break in there somewhere. And then we get started with the day.
There's definitely a bathroom break in there for about the first hour.
I mean, coffee, bathroom break. Y'all know how it is.
Yes.
So really it was about 7 hours. We got done with that. And then
Plus
today,
your hour and a half lunch y'all take in the country.
yes, we do. We
Your
do
home cooked lunches.
every day.
Who's cooking lunch now?
Riley mainly.
Oh, okay.
About every 5th day, I'll go cook lunch.
Okay.
But it's
So
the
we're
same
not getting
thing.
lunches like you used to back in the day. You getting a little
Lord
bit more hot
knows.
dogs. Yeah.
Okay, you can have tacos, pizza, spaghetti, stroganoff, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the rotation.
The rotation?
Every now and then, if I cook, I'll do like grilled chicken, or we'll do some grilled cheeseburgers, something like that.
Yeah.
Typically the stuff that your company wants to build morale over, like a pizza party, or hey, today we're having cheeseburgers. Y'all come get one.
So every day is a morale party at Cat Scratch.
Every day is a morale party, exactly.
And then you go home and you get in your recliner in the office, in the boss's office.
That's right. You come in, get your own recliner in the owner's suite, and we sit in here and BS for a little while. So it's great. It's great. But yeah, so we got that. We've got now the way I do it is I assemble the hardest cabinets first. So we had a 10-foot, 10-foot island.
What makes it hard? Size, complexity? Like, what do you measure that with?
Yes.
Okay.
So the island, usually we frame the backs. That takes longer. We frame the sides. That takes longer. They're generally bigger. You got toe kicks on all 4 sides instead of just the front.
Yeah.
You have to do your nail bands a little bit different. You can't staple them in through the back, obviously. Just general stuff like that. And then we go with the bigger ones like the fridge wraps, the linens, the oven cabinet, things like that. We get all the complicated ones out of the way and done. And then we just bang out the regular bases, regular overheads. We sit and bang them out.
Yeah.
And typically we can do.
That makes sense. So it's kind of like yard work. Like you don't start at the front of the house. Like you start with your hard stuff first. That way you're fresh. You got more energy. You get that stuff knocked out. And then by the time you're starting to peter out, you're down to the easier stuff,
That's it. Yep.
It doesn't take as much mental or physical focus.
Yeah, I try to go from hardest to easiest for that reason. Because could you imagine? I got 3 cabinets left, man, and I'm done. And it's an island, a big old fridge wrap, and a huge oven cabinet. And it takes you 2 days to do them.
Yeah.
So in the fall, stay with me. In the fall, we can average 18 to 20 cabinets a day. That is assembled, masked, and painted. And sanded, ready for paint.
Okay.
In the summer, that number drops to 10 to 12.
A little hot.
It's a little hot. We move a little slower. We don't really push in the summertime.
Yeah.
You can't. It's almost 100 degrees in there.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to, hey, it is what it is at that point. But yeah, so I do.
I bet you day before yesterday it was all of 102 in my shop.
Oh yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. And so this time of year we'll have every day will be 92, let's say. But the humidity goes from 80% to 50%.
Yep.
So we'll be like, it's hot, but we're not pouring in sweat. Humidity's low. But man, a day like yesterday, it was just like 80% humidity. You couldn't see anything. Like your eyeballs are fogging up. That's how bad it is. So,
and that affects your paint productivity as well.
It does.
For you,
Yep.
the way your shop is set up.
A little bit longer cure time or time between sanding, really. So, yeah, and you kind of have to watch airflow. You have to watch for blushing. You have to watch for solvent pop, that sort of thing. But, yeah, and actually I have updated
I know what
about
none
that
of those
later.
words mean. No, I don't want to know. No, I don't want to know. Email us if you got questions for him because I'm not answering those questions or wasting my time learning about paint.
Yeah, email me for pre-cat, post-cat, and 2K solvent-based. Anything else, I'm out. I can't help you with.
Yeah, that's offcuts at styleboys.com.
With 2 Z's.
Yeah.
Offcuts, styleboys.com.
There you go.
Look at there. Look, it's right there. Look real quick. Look
It's
on the screen.
on the
There it is.
screen. That's the producer at work right there, boy.
Man, I tell you what, I don't even know what to do with ourselves. Look at this behind me. Look at this behind me.
I know.
Are we not even going to address this?
It is the elephant in the room.
So if you're not watching it, it's your own fault.
Right.
But anyway.
We're pretty and funny.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. I've been telling my wife that for 20 years. You know that?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got all the hard ones done today. Tomorrow, man, it is going to be a factory in here.
Oh.
Riley is absolutely killing the sanding, masking game. Like today, there's 3 of us here, right? So one person sanding and masking. I typically assemble. Because if a cabinet screwed up, it's my fault. And I feel like if I'm assembling it, I'm kind of keeping an eye on it. And then, I can fix it. I can take
You
the
also
time
drew
to fix
them, so you're going to notice it, like not coming together right before one of them do too, right?
Exactly. Yep. Now, don't let Trey fool you. That sucker, he can assemble them too.
Yeah.
He'll get down there if we got 2 or 3 left or whatever. So today he was just like, dude, you want me to start on drawers? And I was like, I kind of looked around and I was like, yeah, let's do that. He's got all the drawers cut out while we're assembling.
Nice.
I mean, it's amazing. This job is going to, so far, is going really good. Right. So anyway, finally got paint colors picked out. And this is a client that doesn't know a lot about, kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
So we're having to hold her hand through the whole thing. Her language is way off. Like, I don't even know what she's saying half the time, what she means, that sort of thing. But
like
anyways.
Foreign language or just that country or?
Grammar. Yeah.
Okay.
No grammar at all. Words running together. Words ain't supposed to be there. Misspelled. I mean, it's just.
Seems like we should understand that pretty easily.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not exactly the most eloquent speakers on the planet.
Well, how we understand each other.
That's true.
I'm talking to you. You're talking
language.
to me. That's right.
All
Ken's
right.
over there struggling, trying to figure out who's talking and who's doing what.
I'm just gonna tell you, AI has a real fun time trying to figure us out to do the captions. There's a couple of words. It put like symbols on the screen last episode. I was like, ooh, what is that?
What are they called? Hieroglyphics or something?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, dude, it's going good. I had something. I'm going to look at it on the camera because the tall panels for the fridge and the oven, they're like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
Something happened while I was drilling out chef pin holes, and they fell.
Ooh.
And I don't exactly know what happened, so I'm going to go back and find that on the video, and I'm going to post it. Probably, where I'm probably going to post it, Travis?
Patreon.
Probably Patreon. Yes.
Patreon. Well, that'd be a good time to talk about Patreon. What is going on in the Patreon world?
I'll tell you
what.
What
is Patreon? Does everyone know what Patreon is?
No, they do not. I can tell you they do not. So we'll make this short and sweet. Patreon is a place you can sign up, and if you want to, voluntary, if you want to, there's different tiers that you can sign up for. There's a $3, a $5, and a $10 a month tier, and you can sign up for whichever one you want. It's not a contract. You don't have to stay in it for a year. I believe you can do a one-time donation. I think you can just send a payment. There will be stuff for sale in there sooner or later.
Yeah.
We're working on all that.
The hats are just around the corner. We're going to talk about those in a second. But
Yeah. So let's say you're listening and you get something out of the podcast, and you want to help us absorb some of the cost of the podcast. This is how you do it. You go and you sign up, and then it'll draft your bank account. Boom, it's done with. You'll never even miss it. And speaking of which,
where we sign up at.
Yeah, look at the screen, patreon.com/the Style Boys, !UTM on the campaign. That's all you have to do.
We'll put a link in the description down below.
That's probably a better idea.
We'll do that as well.
Probably a better idea. Speaking of which, so text us or email us. Listen, we have to tell you what it is. Otherwise, you won't know what it is or where it is or how to do it. There's new listeners every week. This is not going to be a sales podcast where we're going to sit here for 3 hours and try to get you to sign up for Patreon, right? No. We're going to mention it. We're going to move on. But before we move on, I do have a couple of shout-outs. We do have some people that have joined Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
To the tune of thank you, Mr. Will Myrick.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Larry Davenport. Thank you, Wesley Martin Woodworking. And thank you, Trey. So all those people, they're scattered about.
AKA Butter Smooth.
but a smooth got on there. He said, you know what, I'm going to help these boys out, Do I pour mouth tray? Yes. Yeah. Maybe.
He's good content.
That's right. Can my mom figure out how to get on there and do it? Nope.
No.
I've got to go sign her up. So she wanted me to help that. So another part about Patreon is there is content on Patreon that is not available to the general public.
Correct.
Some behind-the-scenes stuff. I do have a shop shutdown video on there. So if you become a paid member, then you'll gain access to those posts, to those videos, stuff like that. And then you can message us and be like, hey, let me see this set up. Let me see that set up. We got to give them a perk. They're paying us. We got to give them a perk.
And if you come in on the right tier, we send you a little goodie. We got a little goodie we get out to you. Just ordered some new goodies that are on the way to me to get to you.
That's right.
To get out to those guys as well. So
that's right.
We're working on this thing. We're trying to give you value back, and we're not trying to make money. We have full-time jobs. We're not planning on leaving anytime soon. We just, again, the podcast costs us about $150 a month, $150, give or take. We're just trying to offset that cost so that it continues to be fun and not laboring on us. That's it. That's all we're trying to do.
So if you guys are a Patreon member, thank you again, and you want video suggestions, general questions, whatever, send it to us. Man, dude, you know how fast I can knock a video out? I'm talking quick. So it could be cabinet making. Charlie is trying to get me to do a series on how to build cabinets and post it. And he thinks a million people are going to watch it. And I was like, I don't know, man. So that's up in the air.
Well, I mean, based on our interview that's following up this segment, I would say it might be a saturated market.
It might be a saturated market. And if you guys don't hang around for that, you're missing it. That's
from a guy who's been in the market for a minute or two.
Yeah, and he's legit.
So, yeah.
He doesn't have 20 followers on YouTube. Like he's a big timer.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the pay. You got anything else to add about Patreon before we move on?
No, I just appreciate the support. It's so much. Mitch is taking that one by the horns, and he's doing all the communication with that and getting the goodies out to you guys because he lives next door to the post office. And
that's it.
Everybody from season 1 and 2 knows that I'm not capable of putting anything in the mailbox. So I just am not even going to try.
Yeah.
But we appreciate it. It's making a big difference. It really is.
Yeah. Producer Kim sent me the stickers.
Yes.
So I've
with
got
a handwritten
them.
note in them.
That's right. And they will be going out this week.
Yeah.
Which is tomorrow.
We won't say what date this actually is that we're recording.
Yeah.
So we got plenty of time.
Yeah, you'll have them. You already got them. What are we talking about? You already got them.
Right. You might because we got a little busy time coming up, so we're a little ahead of schedule. I'm being rude. I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure we don't forget anything.
What is your shop looking like? You got to give us your shop update.
Oh man. Well, other than being steaming bloody hot, it's going good. We've had several projects going out. Derek just wrapped up some big old, nice white oak doors, indoor sliding barn doors, big old glass panes in them that we've been lumbering around and moving around the shop all over the place about 50 different times. But they came out so beautiful. I didn't really have a whole lot to do with them other than just looking at them. And then we've got some cabinetry going out. I've got a cool walnut vanity that's going out Monday. I'll wrap it up tomorrow, get the drawer faces and all on it. So it's just a continuous grain paneled walnut, pretty modern piece. I've really never done anything like it before. But we have a new tool coming in the shop tomorrow morning.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
I am super stoked. We have a lamello.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Can I borrow it?
Drive on up and pick it up.
Golly.
Yeah. Well, I can't mail it.
Yeah, well, Kim, mail me the lamello.
Yeah, Derek got us a lamello. So, I mean, we've just had several projects here with just face frames and, going on site and just different scribing techniques that we just needed. And we're just finally like, yeah, let's pull the trigger on this lamello. And this particular vanity is going to be the perfect first go for it because it's a very narrow space. And has to go in and then has to, go into the room and then slide back. But we have a door frame on one side. So to go wall to wall with the frame, because we really try hard not to use filler panels. It's just that's just the advantage of having finish after install. I mean, it's almost impossible to do that if you're not doing it that way. But we'll get the cabinet set, and then we'll be able to bring the face frame in at a slight angle behind that door trim, slide it down, and lock it in with the lamellos. You know,
and you can bevel the back side of your stiles too a little bit and help clear it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. This one's actually, it's kind of getting like a double face frame almost. So it's getting a face frame behind, and then put the drawer fronts on, and then I built out another out of that same panel that I made for the drawer fronts. It'll come down as well, so it will look very, very flush on the front. Yeah,
it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, it'll be very pretty. It's coming out really nice. No hardware on it. Finger pulls on the bottom and the top, so there's no hardware on it at all. So it's going to be super slick, and it's
How do you do the finger pull again? Show me.
Like this.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, okay. All right. That's
two-handed.
That's pretty slick. Oh, yeah. Double. Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
would you call that bespoke?
Bespoke. Is that the word of the day today?
That and square.
I would call it. Oh, boy. Now we've gone into this inside joke world where I feel like we gotta like share how stupid I am. But first, yes, I would say it is very bespoke, and it's floating. Did I say that? There's no toe.
You did not. Okay.
So it's suspended off the ground. Right. But so to bring everybody on the inside joke, Butter Smooth is, well, what's he trying to do exactly?
He got his little wood shop going.
Yeah.
And I think he's getting a logo for it. You know, I don't know what he's going to do with it. So
some little trinkets and hand. Like he's not going to start a cabinetry shop or anything. He's just
I don't think he's going to start a cabinet shop. But yeah, so he just a piddly shop, little piddly. Right now he's doing all the honey displays for Southern Sweet Bee honey.
Oh, he took those up.
Yep. He got my laser engraver. He got all my cedar wood. He somehow or another he got me to help him move all that stuff in the shop. That was I don't even know how he did that. But yeah, so he's coming up with a logo, and he's starting the brand or whatever.
So so he sends a logo picture this morning. We have a group chat, the three of us do, which is called Dog Bark Woodworks. That's a whole nother. I'm not going to that.
Another story
because I told my wife this story. She thinks that I completely made it up on the fly, and it's. I'm a very good storyteller, but it is too complex that I could have even made that up on the fly to come up with. But anyway, it is Dog Bark Woodworks, which actually came from our trip to IWF. Is actually where that came from.
Yep.
But anyway, so he sends this logo this morning. He's like, "What do you think?" in the group text. I was like, "Not bad. What if it looked like this?" And he says, "Well, I'm out of edits in ChatGPT." Okay, no problem. I have an account with ChatGPT. I'm not on the free one. Because I'm using my daughter's school one. So I get on there and I make a change. I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? And it's got a hand plane in the middle of it. So it's kind of his name, a hand plane, and it says Woodworks. And Mitch sends, he sends a suggestion. He said, what if instead of a hand plane, it's a square? And I was like, okay. Not even thinking like that we're in the woodworking world or anything. I get into ChatGPT and I say make the hand plane a square, and literally it's a black rectangle, just a black square. And it wasn't. I mean, that was this morning when that went down, and it wasn't until we sat down to record. And he's like, "Yeah, I meant more like a woodworking square, not just a black square on the screen." And I was like, "Oh, that definitely makes more sense."
That's what you said. You said, well, that makes a lot more sense.
I just thought you were going for like this abstract shape in the middle of it. I didn't really get where you were trying to go, but I was like, hey, it's not my bus. I'm open to anything, I mean,
I'm going to put a square right in the middle.
Yeah.
He sent it. It just had a black square right in the middle. And I was like, I sent him a text back and I was like, really?
And I didn't even catch it when you said that. When you said really back, I was like, yeah, looks good. I even put a rectangle all the way around the whole thing to kind of give it some definition. I was like, well, let's make it stand off the page a little bit. But we went back and forth with that for a couple of times. I think we gave Trey so many options. He's like, I'm going to sleep on it. And I was like, well,
I told him, I was like, I said Travis doesn't have a limit, I don't think, on images. So
Oh, we can do it all day long.
I said you better stop there.
I did have to go get my charger though, because I mean we were burning up the phone battery. I was like,
Yeah.
geez, there's something about ChatGPT and the heat. It'll burn up a phone battery.
I'll get him to do a Facebook. I'll get him to do a Facebook page and stuff. I mean, you never know. I mean, YouTube needs another woodworker, so he may.
Right? There ain't enough of them out there.
You know, he may come out and do that. But
But that was a good joke or a good fun day. But then other than that, I've got an install going out Monday, and then I've got like a wrap up to help Derek with. I've got a Murphy bed to do right behind that, and then producer Kim and I are sliding off to Mexico for a few days.
shut up.
Yep, 2 weeks from today, we are going to sit on the beach.
Sit on the beach.
Sit on the beach. It's
I thought
a
you
really
said
good friend of
Civilin
ours.
Beach.
Civilin. We'll have probably a civil dispute on the beach, probably, but I'm sure.
No, not you two.
Us, no. No, it's a real good friend of ours. It's his 50th birthday party. There's about about 20-something people going on this trip.
Wow.
All to an all-inclusive resort, adults-only resort, no kids, and the Cancun area. So we've been busting our butts in the gym and busting our butts in the shop and busting our butts around to try to get ready for this trip for the last 3 or 4 months. So we're
You're trying to get that
super
Cancun
stoked.
body, ain't you?
Yeah. I don't want to be the blob on the beach.
Yeah, well, how's the sleeping situation like? Y'all got your own bed, or is these other 20 people going to be in there with you or something?
Well, it's not that kind of like adult resort. Like,
Well, I don't know. You said they're throwing out adult resort, 20 people, and
just kids not allowed. But
oh, okay.
no, everybody's got yeah. You're responsible for your own accommodations.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just. It's for the people. I'm just asking.
It's for the people. I know, because I'm sure they were wondering the same question. No, but yeah. So I mean, we're just kind of pushing to that, and we'll be gone from that. And then, for those of you who remember, I always build prom float or homecoming floats. So the day we come home, the next day is what they call the Home Depot day, where you have to go and meet the school to get your school funded materials. And then, so that's a Tuesday, then a Wednesday is Home Depot day, and then that weekend starts homecoming build. So that entire week after we come back, we'll be building floats at night.
Now,
after work.
do I remember this correctly? Last year, 2 years ago, you had like all those kids at your house, and Kim was gone.
We did
Am I
have
making that up?
We did have one night. We didn't build the float at our house, but we did have a what they call a flower party at the house, whereas they get, which I think it's a complete waste, but they get the tissue paper and they start prepping it so that it's already made into balls and all, like when we get to the actual float build. But
Okay.
that was all we did. But
Seemed like I remember you being stuck with all them kids from the school. Or
I
something.
might have. We might have been doing a design night, because that might have been freshman year when they were just all over the place with what they thought could be done versus reality. I'm like, look, I'm a fairly decent builder, but I mean, we're talking a $500 budget on a trailer, and you know,
We want the Starship Enterprise track. Can you
Yeah.
build that?
It's funny you mentioned that. The theme is Disney, and they wanted to do Star Wars.
No,
And I
well,
was
there
like,
you go.
well, one, Star Wars is not really Disney. Hate me if you want to. I don't care. Just because they bought it, it's really not Disney.
Nope.
Two, what are you going to do? This gray blob? Like, I mean, everything's black and gray, you know? Like,
Yeah.
what would you do? Like, that's not going to win you votes to win the float competition, right? Like, you want something that's going to win.
Yeah.
You know? I was like, so let's do Up. So we're doing Up.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Yeah. Lots of colors, lots of things to do. Yeah. So we're going to build the house. The house will be on the float. That's my job, is to build the house.
I wonder if we should have like something for the kids, like a homecoming float thing, and just let Thomas and Joseph like ride on it or something up the driveway. You think that'll work?
Put them on a lawnmower. Just
Yeah,
call it a
just
float.
put them in a wagon and be like, "It's homecoming parade! Yay!"
They can throw candy to the old ladies in the park
yeah.
as they drive
Well,
by.
I tell you what,
Werther's Originals. They'll love that. Just throw butterscotch. It's right up their alley.
butterscotch there, little kid.
Come here, Sonny. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, September is going to be rough. It's going to be rough, but it'll be good. I mean, it's good. It's a fun season of life. It really is. Little reality check. Today was not such a fun day in life. I don't know if you saw the news, but we got a phone call about, I think about around 1 o'clock our time, maybe a little bit sooner than that there was an active shooter on campus at UT Chattanooga, which is where our oldest daughter is. So it was a pretty big heart drop. Luckily, thank God, it was allegedly in this building, and she was on another building on the other side of campus, so we felt pretty good about it. And then after it was all said and done, it turned out to be a big giant miscommunication or false alarm of some sort. There was nothing. There was nothing there at all. No shooter at all to be found. Nobody was hurt or anything like that. But
man, you talk about nerve wracking. I bet.
Yeah. It was a it's one of those things where you balance like your own panic with not allowing it to show to your kid and like trying to keep them and obviously gonna help keep your wife calm. It's as the husband or as the man, hate me if you want to, we're equal but we're different. That's just the way we're
absolutely,
men and women are wired. We're equal but different. But like that's my role, is to try to keep everybody in the even kilter, but it's tough when something like that goes down. But there was a couple of those across Tennessee today. It was I don't know what was in the water, but a couple of bomb threats and things going on. But just life is busy, and there's so much going on, and it takes just that second to remind you that it's precious too.
That's it. Yep. Yeah, it can happen. It can happen fast, man. It's just.
Yeah, it actually got me. It got me a little bit. She sent us a screen. She got home and she sent us a picture of her TV, and she's like, "My car made it on the news," and it was her driving. It was her car, like coming down the road, and the news was there recording it. And I'm not gonna lie, like it made me water up a little bit, like to be just so happy to see her driving, to see her in that scene. It was
I imagine.
Oh yeah, we're good. It was weird to see it,
right.
And that was an hour or so, probably after we knew that, everything was clear and she was good,
Yeah.
But it's amazing what these children will put us through.
Man, yeah. Golly, it's, you worry yourself sick over them, but then you can't, you had to, something, I'm sure the military did this too, but the fire department was really good at teaching us, you have to think in the chaos. You have to have a clear head. You have to be able to think, it's life or death, whether you're in a house fire, on the interstate, working a wreck, somebody's missing a leg, or, you got people, we've been to them where there was a shooter there was a murder, something happened. And, and it's something I try to teach my kids is if you're panicking, you cannot think straight.
Yeah. And
I feel like, I'm with you, man, 100%. I feel like the dad has to be that calm in the storm, and the dad has to have the head on straight and say, okay, everybody calm down. This is what we're going to do, to be effective.
And at least one of you has to be, I mean, if the dad for whatever reason is overly affected, then the other one's got to be, but both parents can't be going
right
9,000 miles an hour. One's got to balance the other one out.
So funny story, we were in the rental, and something happened, and something on top of the stove caught on fire. And so Tammy used to freak out, and she would, if anything started to happen, it'd be a hot pad that somebody accidentally knocked over there and was smoking, right? She would freak out and run, and I told her, I said, you can't do that. You have to stay calm. You can't yell and holler and all that. Well, it came back to bite me, because we're in the rental, and I mean, there is a fire on top of the range, and I mean, flames are licking the front of the microwave above the range.
Okay.
And I hear this soft, gentle voice from the kitchen, Mitch. I was like, yeah, what's up, baby? Oh yeah, the kitchen's on fire. I said, do what? She goes, yeah, the kitchen's on fire. So I was like, all right, whatever. It's, I walk in there, dude, and it was just coming off.
She had more emotions when she had hot pants than when her stove was
right.
on fire.
Oh yeah, she was very emotional during hot pants. Oh man. And I was like, Tammy, like, what are you doing? She's like, well, you told me to stay calm. This is me being calm. And I was like, never mind, don't worry about that. Just start yelling and screaming,
Well, speaking of staying calm, you have another story that you need to share, and it's not for the faint of heart. So if you're a little animal sensitive,
Yeah.
pause it for the next. I don't know how long it's going to take to tell this story, but it is funny and sad and funny and sad all wrapped into one little ball. But
It is.
it is the reality of life in the country, life in a cabinet shop, because I guarantee you are not the only cabinet shop that has a cat or a dog that's floating around in it, because I have a little bit of social media left that I can see.
Okay.
Just a little bit, not much. I mean, I do have a few pages I'm still allowed on. So what went down in your shop, man? Like,
All right, so I'm going to start off by saying this. We have a weird aura over here where we're only allowed to have 2 cats. And that's as simple as I can put it. God, universe, however you, karma, I don't know. However you want to say it, we have to maintain 2 cats. All right, so a
what
couple
if you
years
go to
ago.
one? Is that okay, or is it
No.
just going over 2?
No, you can't have 1 and you can't have 3.
So if you have 1, another one shows up,
Bingo.
and if you have 3,
Then bad things happen,
the
apparently.
other, okay.
Apparently. So we got down to 1 cat a while back. Short story here, short. We got down to 1 cat. We had a cat that died. We had 2 cats, right? We got down to 1 cat. The day, and the cat's name was Biscuit, a.k.a. Bicket, a.k.a. Bicket Boy. All right? So the day that Bicket Boy died of natural causes, a random black cat showed up in our goat barn. Not lying, not making it up. That 100% happened the day. All right, so we're like, cool. We're maintaining,
Yeah.
Anyway,
We've got our 2 cat quota.
that's right. So we have Peanut, and then we have another barn cat. That was 2. Peanut is a cool cat. She comes out to the shop. She hangs out, whatever. She's in the house. She's outside. She don't care. She's kind of like a dog.
Mm-hmm.
So she was, out here playing with Little Bit, who is the shop dog, and they play together well.
Who's probably under your feet right now.
She is. Matter of fact, if y'all are looking closely, I had to throw a ball a few minutes ago to her. Anyway, so Tammy calls me and says, Mitch, don't kill me. A stray cat showed up at her work, and it was super sick. It was like 0.8 pounds, eyes all matted up, couldn't breathe, hardly had respiratory stuff going on. Anyway, I was like, whatever. You're not winning that argument.
Right.
It's a cat. They don't eat a whole lot. I was like, whatever. Like 2 days later, dude. So now we're at 3 cats. You got Lauren Daigle, you got the rescue cat, and you got Peanut. Peanut is in the shop playing with Little Bit, and she's sitting, and this is where it's going to get. I'm just going to hit it real quick, and then we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
She was right below the giant 36-inch exhaust fan. And for whatever reason, she jumped straight up off the floor and tried to land inside where the fan was.
Well, she successfully landed in there. Right.
To her credit, she did land in there. You're right. Mm-hmm. She did. I don't know if I'd call it a success, but she landed in the fan.
Yeah.
She did what she set out to do.
Yeah.
All right. And so, and we're talking a big fan. Like, this is
like if you've ever been by a chicken house like this, I mean, it's essentially a chicken house exhaust fan. Like,
it is a chicken house. Yep.
I mean, so you take your 3-foot arm span, spread it out, and you got a fan.
Yeah. And hey, buddy, she's whirling. And so the cat jumps up, and a blade catches the cat, removes her front left arm, and slams her into the support. Well, Riley heard it, and that was Riley's cat. Riley ran over to the fan, looked down, and started screaming, "Is she dead? Is she dead? Is she dead?" And ran away.
Man.
Ran away. Well, here comes paramedic Trey, right? He comes running in. First thing he does is realize that one of the fan blades is bent and hitting the support. Cat is on the ground. He grabs the fan with his hand, reaches over with the other hand, turns the switch off.
Okay.
Bends down, picks up the cat, and hollers at me. I was in the paint shop. Yells at me, "We got to go." And I was like, what's going on? And he goes, I have to go to the vet. And I was like, uh-oh. I didn't know all this had happened.
Right. You're behind a closed door pain.
Yeah, I'm behind a closed door. So Riley calls me. I call Riley about 5 minutes later when I get settled, and I say, okay, what happened? And she said, Peanut has jumped into the fan. And I was like, well, is she alive? And she's like, yeah, she's alive. She's missing an arm. And I was like, oh. You know, and I hate to be insensitive, but there's a line where you're just like, it would, and in this case, it would have been better if she was killed instantly.
Yeah.
Right? So they took her to the vet. The vet tells me probably not going to be a good outcome. And I said, okay, well, you know, whatever you think you need to do, you're the vet, I'm not. He said, we're going to give her 3 or 4 hours, see what she does. She's in shock, missing an arm. You know, Trey's got blood all over him and all that stuff. The vet calls 3 or 4 hours later and says, if you guys want to see Peanut, you might want to get here pretty quick. Wow. So Tammy brought Riley down there, and they got to say their goodbyes, and unfortunately Peanut passed away. But all that to say, guess how many cats we have now?
2.
2. We have 2 cats.
That is
and so
weird stuff going on there.
I'm telling you, dude, we're stuck at 2 cats. It's like some sort of weird time warp or something where there's nothing we can do about it. So I told Tammy, I said, I got an idea. I like both the cats we have now. Don't bring home another one. It's like Final Destination, dude. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's like I have no control over over who lives and who dies.
Oh.
So, but the good news is the rescue cat he's doing fine. He's growing. He's mean as a snake. He's super healthy now, whatever. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's a really weird place to be when you realize it's not just a fluke. You just can't have less or more than 2 cats.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I had a little situation where we had a stray cat for about, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks. And I'm usually not taken in by these things, but there was something about this guy, like, I felt just terrible for him. Like, I mean, he had a torn ear, and he had a couple of big old giant ticks on him, and I was like, oh, man, we got to do something. And so I finally agreed that I would trap him. We fed him for a couple of days, and I was like, and he kind of stuck around. I was like, well, I'll trap him, and we'll take him to the vet and get an assessment done. I was like, I don't know. And he had a big old, like, spot right here that was basically bald, like he had mites or something, Mm-hmm. So I told my daughter, I was like, I mean, I've got X amount of dollars I'm willing to spend on this stray cat, and I don't even know if it's, like, healthy enough to, like, I don't know. The vet may say it's in its best interest to go down, but anyway, I guess the cat knew what was up because I got a trap, and I put the trap out there, and I couldn't get a vet appointment until like Saturday, and I got the trap on like Tuesday. So I was like, well, I'll put the trap out and we'll feed him in the trap, and just let him get used to it. Let him get used to it. So that Saturday comes around, get up early, set the trap actually this time, put the food in it. Appointment time comes and goes. Never saw the cat. Never saw the cat the entire day.
That's a cat for you.
Sunday morning, he's right back. I was like, you son of a gun. And then got busy again. Couldn't get an appointment, didn't get an appointment. And then all of a sudden, we had some new neighbors move in, walking dogs behind the townhouses and all, and I hadn't seen him since. It's been 2 weeks now. I don't know what happened to him, but I was like, oh well, that worked itself out.
Is this the one that would like growl and hiss at you every time you went out there to feed?
Oh
it?
yeah, he would get very aggressive, like when you like put food out there. But he was getting better. Like, I mean, we were getting to the point where I was actually starting to grow a slight attachment to him.
Yeah.
He was. He was just kind of that tough, like alley cat looking.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, one day he walked off. I was like, "Well, we definitely got to get him neutered if he sticks around here." I was like, "Can't have that." But
y'all gonna be them crazy cat people that live next door,
Yeah, I mean, we already got 3 cats that live in the house, so I mean, we weren't fixing to. I mean, he was not fixing to come in the house. Like, that was not an option. But I was like, I mean, if he wants to live healthy out here, then I'll support that. But
yeah, throw that feed out,
Yeah, but he never showed back up again. Still hadn't seen him. But yeah, cats are interesting. I've never really been a cat person, and then we got 3 for some crazy reason, and now I mean I still don't really love everybody else's cats. I mean I like mine, but I'm kind of modern.
Yeah.
Now, I like Bickett. I didn't realize that he had gone. Bickett actually probably was the cat when I was down there working with you. It kind of turned me a little bit. I was like, oh, because I thought it was still him.
Yeah, that was Bickett boy. Yeah, he was. You talk about not getting upset about anything, man.
Yeah,
He
cat
was
was
just.
chill.
Yeah, he was so chill. He'd be in the shop about every day. Lauren Daigle is all right. She's the barn cat. She's lived her entire life in the barn. Don't let her feel bad. She comes in here during the winter. I leave a blanket out by the wood stove, and she is warmer than anybody else, I promise you. She's got food in here. She's got water in here, but she lives out in the barn, and she catches, mice and all that stuff. So that's what she does. But, yeah, and then this new one, he's just a nuisance in the house. I mean, loves whipped cream, believe it or not.
All 3 of ours will sit at the bar in their own little bar stools so I can put Cool Whip out for them.
Yeah, I never knew that was a thing with cats, but apparently it is. And Tammy Tammy thought it was real cute to give the cat whipped cream, but now every morning the cat goes in there, bites Tammy right on her big toe, wanting to get some whipped cream.
We have one that sits on top of the fridge every morning while we're making our breakfast and our protein shakes and getting ready to go. He sits on top of the fridge and watches everything that we do. Like, I mean, he's just right there, right there. They're interesting.
But they're a gamble because you're either going to get a good one or a bad one. I don't think there's in between on a cat.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Carson's cat is probably an in between, I would say. If you're me, like she's great for everybody else, but I can't get within like 2 feet of her.
Yeah.
And I've never done anything to this cat in my life, but
yeah, they're weird.
I'll trick her. Like I'll reach over Kim and like pet her. And she doesn't realize it's me, and she'll let me pet her. But if she ever figures out it's me, she is gone. That makes a heartbeat.
Well, speaking of animal stories, did you see the so for those of you who don't know, Travis and I, we have a shared note on the Notes app.
Yeah.
And we leave it kind of vague and leave the other one guessing as to what it is, and they don't know the story until we get here on the podcast, and either he tells me or I tell him.
Well, we talked about it because sometimes the problem is we make it so vague by the time we get back to the podcast, the notes, I can't remember what my note was about. There's several on here. There's several on here that we never touched because I can't remember what the heck they were about. I'm like
orange, purple, 612. Like, I don't know. We'll come back to that one. I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, there was one. I was like, maybe eventually I'll figure that out. And,
I think we deleted a couple of them. We just gave up on them.
We did. I think when we came back for this season, we kind of cleaned the list up a little bit. Do we have enough? Do we have enough time for that one?
Yeah, it's fairly short. We got a few minutes left.
I mean, while we're on the animal train, we might as well touch handful of goat wiener.
Handful of goat wiener. That's what is on the Notes app.
That's what I woke up to for a note.
And the worst part about that one is it's not really that vague. It was literally a handful of goat wiener.
But there's lots of questions still. There's still lots of questions.
Raise your hand if you have a question. So we have, obviously we got goats. Everybody knows that. But the bucks got out the other day. Somebody left. The panel came undone. The fence came undone. And so they just snuck out. Now, the thing about a goat is they won't.
I still have that video of Tammy trying to get that goat in the pen that day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Down there. I mean, she has threatened me bodily harm if I ever posted or do anything with it. But I have it.
Watching somebody try to catch a goat, one of the funniest things you'll ever see. So we got 3 boy goats. And if you don't know, a boy goat stinks. They don't have manners. Some of them have horns. You know what I mean? Like they're wild.
Are they all named Billy, or is just one a Billy? How does that work when you got multiple goats and they're boys?
So we don't name them Billy.
Oh,
a billy goat is slang for a male goat, but then you also have bucks and wethers.
Oh.
Like a male rabbit is called a buck, and a male goat is called a buck, and obviously a male deer is called. There's a lot of bucks out there. But anyway, a male goat is a buck if he is intact, let's say.
Oh,
If he's not intact, he's called a wether.
Oh. Because he's got withered weathers.
He's got his weathers have been withered.
His weathers have been. I like that.
He's walking around with a coin purse, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So anyway, they got out, and of course, a random person from the park drives down our driveway to the house, knocks on the door, and says, "Y'all's goats are out." So for whatever reason, Trey picked the wildest one to try to catch. Mikey, the big one, he just like, all right, show's over, guys. Let's go back. He walks back in. The other one walks back in, and now you have a standoff with Trey and the buck that he has chosen to catch.
Like, where are they at? Like, out in the yard?
Yeah, they're in. But this one was in between the fence and the road. There's about 30 feet between the fence and the road in the grass.
Trey's literally.
He's
decide which way to go on this thing.
Yep. Yeah. And there's no way to corner the goat. You just kind of have to be quick with it,
Right.
And he's probably 60 pounds. He's not big enough to really hurt you, per se.
Well, 60 pounds of goat don't sound like fun.
No, it ain't fun. Especially, when he's a buck, So anyway, Trey reaches down and grabs this goat by the back legs and picks it up. Just like this around the barrel of the goat or the rib cage of the goat, right? So his left hand comes around, his right hand are up under the armpits, and his left hand comes around and lands in a very inappropriate spot on the goat. Well, the goat in turn does not like this method of retrieval. So the goat begins thrashing, like a fish out of water.
We take the word buck to another level.
That's right. He was bucking, buddy. And I do have it on video. It's too grainy to really tell, but you could tell there was a struggle happening.
Right.
Right. So I look over and I was like, Trey, why do you have the goat off the ground? He's like, it's the only way I could get him, About that time, Trey realizes that his left hand is on the man part of the goat. Mm-hmm. And I mean a man part. You know what I'm saying? So his whole hand is full of this thing. And he's up, and the goat starts thrashing so hard it completely deglasses Trey, knocks his glasses off his face, knocks his hat onto the ground. Does Trey give up? No, sir. He's a trooper. He doesn't even move.
Risk having to reposition and grab it a second time.
That's right. He's like, dude, it's too late. I'm locked in. And he had to walk this goat about 20 feet and finally gets the goat in. And I mean, that sucker, boy, his hooves were going everywhere. His head was going, knocked Trey upside his head. It was so funny. And I didn't really realize what was going on, And so Trey puts the goat down. And then he said, I make jokes all the time that I never know what I'm going to do when I come to your stupid little cabinet shop and to your stupid little house. I did not have, and this is what he said, I did not have having my hand on a goat wiener on my bingo card today. I had none of that was planned. And, buddy, I got to laughing, man. And I said, I will never know why you picked that goat up like that. And he said, it's all I knew to do, man. That's all I knew to do.
So for my ChatGPT rendition of his logo tomorrow, I'm going to replace this black square with a goat head.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, yeah, you'll find yourself in those,
more random info, contact something. I don't know what's going on over there, Producer Kim.
Oh, look, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're doing. I like that. Yeah. Send us your goat stories.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you have, send us your goat stories or animal stories. We might talk about it. If you're not ready for goats, you're not ready for goats, man. Don't think it's like raising chickens or anything like that.
I'm not ready for goats.
These are a whole nother, we see videos of the cute little goat and all that kind of stuff, and the babies are cute.
I would only want the fainting ones. That way I can just yell at them and they fall over.
Yeah, she won't let me have those.
No, because you'd always keep them in fainting position.
Right, yeah.
How many faints do you think a goat has before it dies? Infinite number of faints? Or
I think it is.
30?
I think it is. Now, I don't know if there's a daily limit.
Do you keep like a tally on it? You're like, hey, Jimmy's only got 28. He's got 28 faints. Two more, and he can get back up, How does that work?
What kind of defense mechanism is it if you just lock up and fall down?
I don't
I think they got the short end of the stick on that one.
right. I think God was like, "Look, I'm out of camouflage. I'm out of weapons and quills and stinky things to throw. Like you just fall
Stingers.
down. You just fall down."
Your defense is to fall down and stiffen out. And they're like, really, man? I mean, what in the world? But anyway, yeah, there's a couple. I've got animal stories, man. We'll sprinkle them in. We'll sprinkle them in. But man, if you live on a farm, you got animal stories.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm having a real hard time figuring out how to reel this thing back to the direction that we need to go after that story. I mean, normally, you can, as we go through this thing, you can find these like segues and go, all right, well, we can kind of connect back here, and we'll kind of loop it. We're just gonna stop.
Let's just stop it.
We're just gonna stop telling animal stories. We're gonna take a break, and we'll come back, and we are going to do our interview with the one, the only, Drew Fisher from Fisher Shop.
That's right. Coming right up, folks. You don't want to miss this one.
Very good, very entertaining interview with him. Good YouTuber. If you're not familiar with his YouTube, go check it out. Good woodworker, hilarious dude. Just a genuine fun guy to hang out with. But when we come back, we'll do the interview with Drew. With
y'all stand by.
Shop. Well, all right. Well, for the first time ever, we have officially got a guest in the studio, Mr. Drew Fisher from Fisher Shop. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's so good to have you in here. You're the first celebrity guest.
Hardly a celebrity, but I
I'm a
appreciate
fan.
it.
I mean, I'm a fan.
Well, thank you.
Your videos put me on when I first got into this world. Really were a driving factor for me of just creativity, and I think the biggest thing was just not being afraid of your mistakes. I mean, be honest with you, like I thought that was just so genuine and real from your videos that it kind of makes you not be so scared to mess up something.
Yeah, and that's really where, I mean, that my outtakes sort of became a thing.
Right.
At first, I would really try to hide my mistakes, and then I did one video. There was one video in particular that was like a turning point where I really started to inject comedy into my videos because I thought it's just so much more enjoyable. And that video was a bandsaw review. I did a bandsaw review for Rikon, and I was really technical and talking about all the bells and whistles, basically like reading from the manual. And I got it all done, and I got it rendered, and I was watching it, doing like the final looks before I sent it up to YouTube, and I found myself being absolutely bored watching my own video, and I was fast forwarding through it, and I realized, oh my gosh, if I'm doing that, everyone's going to do that. This is not good. So I rewrote the entire voiceover, and wow. I just made it completely ridiculous with all kinds of goofy jokes and stuff. And then I re-rendered it, and I sent it over to Rikon, and they're like, this is hilarious. This is awesome. And I went with it. I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is my new thing. But then in projects going forward, I would make mistakes, and I'd be like, well, you know what? It's kind of funny, though. That's a funny mistake. Maybe
Right.
maybe I'll include it. And then I started including outtakes at the end, but then people started saying what you just said. They're like, thank you so much for showing your mistakes. I was just convinced that I was an awful craftsman because I watch all these videos on YouTube and I see nobody makes mistakes. And
They're all perfect,
Right, exactly.
Nothing ever goes wrong in their world.
So then that's really why I started including the outtakes. Not only are they funny, but it keeps me humble, and it shows people, hey, we all make mistakes. I mean, none of us are perfect, and if I can give somebody a little bit more confidence in in their abilities out in the shop, well, then cool, that's great.
Yeah. I posted a reel about, I don't know, we were probably into this about 6 months. And I had been cutting at the saw all day. I turned around and I said, I don't understand how you two people are so clean at the end of the day. Because, I mean, I was just covered, you know. And I was like, there is a real world and a fake world sometimes, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, you know, and not to say that some of the YouTube workers are not great woodworkers, you know, but there's a few of them out there that really just kind of embrace the mistakes and also show the fixes for those mistakes. And it really puts the beginner world in like a perspective of, oh, this is overcomable. This is,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
not
Yeah.
something I have to
Yeah.
be perfect at.
I was going to say it is such an encouragement to see somebody you may look up to online, and you know, you're like, man, one day I wish I could build something like that. I wish I could, you know, put something together or finish something like that. And then you see that they had their struggles through it, and they, you know, made a miscut. They didn't think about something in the design. And a lot of people would just give up. But if they see other people do it and, oh, well, I'm not the only one, you know, then
Yeah.
that could really help them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a lot of our foundation. A lot of our foundation is trying to get people to take that step. You know, we have a lot of people who ask us questions about starting a business, and, you know, whether it's from, you know, the hobbyist side to kind of making a little side hustle, or converting from that side hustle to, you know, to going full time. You know, a lot of the listeners that we have outside of our parents, so the other 10 people, are wanting to know, you know, what it's like to make that jump, you know, and that's kind of been our driver, is to just to be encouraging for people to take a step, you know, whether you're doing micro steps to get towards that goal, or, you know, whether you're willing to, you know, jump in whole hog and, you know, and make that leap of faith. It varies for everybody a little bit, but that's one of our main drivers, is to just encourage people to chase that dream, you know, because we both came from not ideal, you know, worlds of, I mean, Mitch was in the car industry, you know, making cars, and, you know, I was kind of doing, you know, industrial stuff, and, you know, just nobody was really happy, you know, and we were like, all right, something in our life has to change, you know, and we jumped, and now
Here
work
we are.
for ourselves 24/7, 9 days a week.
It's scary, though, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But it is also we tell people all the time, it's one of the most freeing things you can do.
Oh, for sure.
know.
Yeah, working for yourself, definitely.
Yeah. But so one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because I know it's a big driver for you, and I think a lot of people will associate with it, is kind of getting to that side hustle world, you know, because I think that's kind of how you kind of started, was as you transitioned. Am I semi-correct?
Well, I mean, Fisher's Shop is still, I guess you could still say it's like a hobby, a side hustle, but it has grown legs that have been making it work pretty well as supplemental income. So I have another business. I own a IT company, and I do computer consulting, and I've done that for maybe about 13 years now. And I since Fisher Shop has sort of taken off, I've sort of stopped pursuing new clients with the computer company. So I'm sort of letting that dwindle off, and I just signed a new contract, so to speak. So it's not dwindling off this year. It'll be going for a little bit longer. But all that to say, I'm not afraid of letting it fizzle out and closing up the doors on that. And that's fine. I'm to the point now with Fisher Shop where this thing that began as a side hustle and sort of a hobby could actually become my only source of income. And I think I'm okay thinking about that. It's a little bit nerve-wracking because, as you guys may know, now that you're working for yourself, anytime you start your own business venture, it's, you're at peaks and valleys, right? You might get a really awesome job, or in my case, I might have a chance to do a video for a certain sponsor, and it's like, okay, I got a good paycheck coming in next month. That's going to be great. But then after that, maybe I don't get anything.
Yeah, we call it the feast and famine effect. You know?
Well, yeah, for sure. It's definitely that. And over the years now, since I've been able to kind of use my other company as a crutch, and that's like my main source of income, since I've been able to really rely on that, I've been super picky on what sponsors I take on for Fisher Shop, and I haven't taken on just anything. And if Fisher Shop was my only source of income, then I probably would have, I would have thought, hey, all money is green. Go ahead, I'll promote your silly cell phone video game in my woodworking video,
Right.
and I would do that. But I don't know. I've been super picky because I can afford to be, and now all of a sudden, if I need to rely solely on Fisher Shop, I'm going to have to kind of change my thinking, and I'm going to probably have to open up, and then I'm going to have to ramp up my video production as well. I don't really crank them out nearly as often as some of these other content creators. I'm at like one video a month.
So it's not just easy just to whip up a YouTube channel and just become instantly famous and make tons of money off of it. I thought that was the way it worked. I thought signed up for YouTube.
I thought that's why we were here today. I mean, come on.
No, it's definitely taken me a while.
It's a slow burn. It definitely is.
And it's gotten even slower, if you ask me. I had somebody ask me just the other day, hey, how's the whole YouTube thing going? And I said, it's not nearly as good as it was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
YouTube really changed some things, and I can't put my finger on it. I guess the most important thing to know is, for those of you that are interested in starting up a YouTube business or trying to grow a channel, there is no silver bullet. You cannot listen to one particular YouTuber say, hey, this is what you got to do, and then you're going to get huge and you're going to get famous and you're going to make zillions of dollars. No, there is no solution. We've tried it all. There's nothing that works. There are some things that can help you, but even them, some of them are really weird. Like, one of the things that YouTube pushes are thumbnails where people have weird expressions on their faces in the thumbnail, and it's like, I don't want to do that.
That's Mitch's sole purpose in being here, is just to create thumbnails for me. That's the only reason why I keep him around.
So it's a lot of the things are goofy like that, and I just don't. I don't.
Do you
buy
think
into
it's YouTube's popularity? Like it from the outside looking in, if I had to guess, YouTube just has so many channels now that now it's so, you have so many options of what to view for. Kind of like back in the day. You had 5 channels on TV, and then all of a sudden satellite came on, and now you had 100 channels. So now you weren't watching channel 2 as much as you were, because you had things, other things that you could watch. You think that's
I do. I definitely think it's completely saturated for content creators that are makers. So it didn't used to be saturated like that. You would have a handful of woodworking ones, and you'd have a handful of maybe metalworking and welding ones, and there were different makers of different crafts on YouTube. But now, like, if you just go and search woodworking on YouTube, you'll never see the end of it. There are thousands and thousands of channels. And so that was part of the issue when I first started my channel. It was, how am I going to be different? What has not been done?
right.
And regrettably, like, if I could go back and talk to myself, I would have said, all right, don't pick a different niche, because the one that you're picking now is going to be very difficult to maintain. And I would have chosen a different one, but what I've done is sort of got myself stuck into a specific video method that that I use to put together my videos, and
Right.
and it's tough. It's tough to put together and to produce a video because of all the different camera angles that I do a professional voiceover for each one, and I mean I use a nice video, and everything's high speed as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a ton of work to.
It's a lot of time. I mean, just to edit this podcast alone, we do an episode is about 3 hours or so. We're pretty long format. I mean, but you know as well. I mean, you're 4.5 hours of editing just to watch it, and now with captions, you got to go through and correct all the words that the two of us don't say well.
Right.
Because I can't figure out our southern accent sometimes. You know. So it's very time consuming.
Yeah.
And I think that's something a lot more people should realize is it's easy to go there, you know, click on your subscriptions. Oh, Fisher Shop's got a new video. Let me just watch it. You know, it might be something they want to build. It might be something they want to see. It might not, whatever. And you're sitting here saying, you know, because you got a lot of subscribers, and you're like, what is the majority going to want to watch? What can the majority make if they want to make something? You know, because you can't be exclusionary. Yeah. You have to try to include, and that's the whole, you know, you see these YouTube woodworkers get so big, and they have all this equipment, and then they start a complete other channel that's like, well, now we're going to go to, you know, building a birdhouse in a bathroom with a drill. You know, because a lot of people can't afford all these, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in tools I've got. Yeah. You know, so they're having to reset and go back kind of to their roots. And I could not imagine sitting there and saying, okay, for this month's video or this week's video, I'm gonna build this. And that was kind of a question I had is what is your thought process if you're sitting there drinking a cup of coffee in the morning saying, all right, I want my next video to be shop project, you know, furniture, you know, kind of what is your process of doing that, or you just wait for something to show up?
A little bit of both, actually. I do have a list that I keep on my computer with ideas. However, I also... my business model, if you don't know already, is to sell plans, digital plans on my website for the projects that I demonstrate building on my videos. So I
at a ridiculous cost. I mean, his plans, he's selling them at a ridiculous fee.
Right.
And by ridiculous, it's cheap.
Right.
Means cheap, not ridiculously expensive. Yeah. So.
It's for the beginner, for the beginner to not be intimidated to pick it up and try it. Like
exactly, that was my thinking, and I thought, you know what, do I want to sell one set of plans for $30, or do I just want to sell it at $5 and try to get them to return and buy more? So that's where I landed on that. So all my plans are super cheap, but that's my business model. I will try to pick a project that other people will want to build themselves. So I will actually design it and model it to where I'm hoping I can find the most interest from other people. So maybe it's not necessarily my taste, my exact taste, or maybe it's not exactly designed perfectly for my home. However, I'm trying to make it appeal to the masses, to the most amount of people possible, and then I will build it, and I will try to make it look easy. Of course, I still show my mistakes in the outtakes because I inevitably make mistakes, but I try to show, look how easy this is, how easily you can make it. And I don't have all Festool stuff. I don't even have Milwaukee stuff. You know, I'm using Home Depot rigid stuff, and that is not necessarily bottom rung on the ladder, but it's mid-grade. You know, it's what most DIY, you know, the guy next door, it's what they have in their garage. So I'm showing you with average tools, average quality tools, what you can make. And when they see me do it on the video, hopefully that encourages them to go out to my site and drop $5 and pick up a set of plans. That's my business model. So when it comes to picking projects, I try to think of something, what are people going to want? What do they want to build? And yeah, I get some recommendations every now and then from fans or from viewers. They're like, hey, why don't you build one of these or one of those? And sometimes they're just really bizarre recommendations, and sometimes it's like, well, I could, but I don't really need one of those.
Yeah.
So that also enters into it, where everything that I build usually ends up in my house somewhere. So there is not a room in my house right now that does not have something that I built. So that's another thing, is like, I work from home, so.
And what do you do with this thing after you've built it if you don't want it? You're like,
well, exactly. Yeah, and I do sometimes. I'll make something for friends, or they'll say, "Hey, I need a bookcase." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you know what? A small bookcase that would make for a good video, because a lot of people need bookcases, and that could be an easy set of plans." Yeah,
or like
I'll build
you did the book library.
Yeah. So then of course, I'll get another friend that says, "Hey, can you build me a bookcase?" And I'm like, "Nope, I've already done bookcase. Don't want to do another one."
Yeah.
Either, or else they'll say, "Hey, what about a dining room table?" I'm like, "Have you seen my videos? I can't. My shop is not that big. I can't build you a dining room table. Just can't do it." So I've gotten requests to build huge things, and then other things that I've already built, or even things that I'm just not really interested in building. But when I do get the good recommendations, I add them to the list, and I'm plugging away through it. I actually have a new video coming out this week. So yeah, so and this one, there are no plans for this one. I thought about doing plans for it, but it just didn't really fit. The video is about making Celtic knots on a lathe. Do you guys have a lathe in your shop?
I
Mitch
do.
does. I don't.
Yeah. So this one is pretty fun. I'm new to turning stuff on a lathe.
Okay.
I show in the video the last time I really turned something on a lathe was in 1990, and I was 15 years old. So it was a while ago. Now, 35 years later, I have got a lathe in my shop now, and I don't know if you saw the video. Peter Brown came over, and he showed me how to turn on the lathe, and that was a fun video. But now I've got a lathe in my shop, so I figured, what, let's find something that's cool and challenging. And I was inspired by a video from Mike Muzio from the Moose Shop, and he created a Celtic knot. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is just so cool. I got to see if I can do this. And I made a video showing the entire process, start to finish, of how you can do it yourself. And I thought, I could probably do a set of plans for this, but it's not really for a project. It's more for like a technique. And the technique is not mine. I didn't come up with this. So it seems kind of wrong for me to try to capitalize on somebody else's thing. So I didn't do it, but you can sort of see where my head was at. That's the line of thinking that I have to go through for every video. I still think it's going to be a good video, because man, it is super cool. It really is so much fun making these things on the lathe. And the thumbnail, I think, is pretty catchy. It's got a really cool looking design there. And so we'll see how it does. I figure if I can get 10% of my subscriber base to watch the video, then that video is a success. So
your video with Peter was so funny to me, because it's almost an exact mirror of me actually going to Mitch's shop and him teaching me how to turn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I had never done it before. I was like, hey, man, I bought this thing. I don't know what to do. And he's like, come down. So I went shot down for the day, and this was before he had a cabinet shop. We were just in a shed, and we actually turned handles for the tools.
Oh, for the turning tools.
For the turning
themselves.
tools,
Oh,
similar to how
cool.
you did, So I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I am living this video, I mean, it was so, it took me back, and I still have the pin. We turned pins that day, and I still have that pin in my truck. I won't allow anybody to use it, even though it's refillable. I'm still weird. I don't want anybody to use it because that's Mitch and Travis's pin from that day. So it was a cool video to watch for me.
I ran across one. I won't go through the whole thing, but the lady her husband had passed, and she had a lot of tools for sale, and she had a Delta. They had this run where they made this X5 equipment, and it was like Delta's kind of more heavy duty, a little bit more commercial type stuff. I think it came out in the early 90s. And so I was familiar with the brand, but I went there and looked at it, and it's a big lathe. It's a full size lathe, and I think she wanted like $300 for it or something like that.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I'll take it, for that. And we kind of let her. And some of the stuff she was just super low on. Now I did get it with a bundle, and I overpaid for a lot of the other stuff in the bundle. I gave $700 for a $300, boring machine. So, it kind of all washed out. But the lathe is one of those things where there's so many kits and things that you can buy and build whatever you want to on it. And it's so fun to use the lathe. It's all right there. You don't have to have 8 other tools to run it, So if I could do something just like if I want to come out here and spend an hour just doing something just fun, I would probably wind up on the lathe. It's a super neat tool.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
Well, speaking of another fun tool, we wanted to kind of pick your brain about was introductory into the CNC world.
Yeah.
So, we won't get into the debate of whether CNC is not woodworking or not. We won't even, we're not going to touch that, but, so I don't have a CNC. Mitch doesn't have one either. We're hoping to bring one into the cabinet shop here in the next 4 to 5 months, but it'll be, production level, not the hobbyist size.
Yeah.
But, what would be some of your recommendations for somebody? Because I know you've been in that hobbyist size of a CNC world for a good bit now, right?
Yeah, I originally started with Inventables. I was on contract with them for a couple years, and so they sent me their machine, and that's called the X-Carve. And I was, let's see, what did I have to do? I think I had to make one video using the machine every quarter. So I had to do 4 videos for them a year. And then they would renew the contract, and I did it for 2 years. So I ended up making, I think, 8 videos for them using the X-Carve. And it was my very first CNC, and it doesn't even have a spindle. It just uses like a little trim router. And I think they used the DeWalt trim router, and it was fine. It worked, but there were some definite shortcomings with the X-Carve. It was, well, for one, when they sent it to me, I had to build it. And this is how they send it to everybody. They just, basically, you get a bag of nuts and bolts and bits, and you have to take it all apart. Every single screw, every single washer and bolt and nut, and you had to do it all yourself. And all the wiring, oh my goodness. But I actually got that thing together. It took me probably 2.5 days to build it. But once I got it built, it was like, oh my goodness, this thing actually works. Holy cow! So yeah, you have a strange attachment to it after you build it from nothing.
Yeah.
Then when
Look
it actually
at what
works,
I have created.
right? It's like Tom Hanks and I have made fire. So I did enjoy it. I worked with it for a while, for like I said, 2 years or so, and then I decided, you know what, I don't think I want to renew with them again because My CNC videos are performing very, very poorly. People don't watch me for the CNC content. They watch me for woodworking. So I decided not to renew with Xcarve, and then I figured, you know what? There's this new machine that has come out, and in every category, it looks like it is better than the Xcarve that I'm using. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just pull the trigger and try it. So I listed my Xcarve up for sale on like Facebook Marketplace, and I ended up selling
good
that.
old Marketplace. That's a fun,
Yep.
That's a fun world to go down in.
And I purchased a Onefinity. So the
Okay.
Onefinity, I've been working with them for years now. I worked with them on my podcast for years, and right now I'm not working with them from a YouTube perspective, but I am in talks with them about potentially working with them side by side at some of the upcoming shows like
Okay.
IWF or Workbench Con, that sort of thing. So that might be a lot of fun. Great bunch of people, and the machine is just it is absolute light years ahead of the Xcarve that I used. Now, since then, they have continued to innovate and made their machines even better and better and better and better. And Onefinity has reached out to me, and they're like, "Hey, you're still using our old one. Why don't we send you like our latest state-of-the-art one with all these bells and whistles?" And I'm like, "That is very, very generous of you, and I appreciate that a whole bunch, but I have to say no because I don't have the room in my shop."
Yeah.
I mean, it is just
Yeah.
an amazing machine that you have and what you're offering me. And yes, I'll continue to champion you and sing your praises, but I can't. I
So
can't
what size
accept
are you
that.
on now?
So
what size
the
are
one
you
I
on?
have now, it's one of their smallest ones. It's called the Woodworker Pro. It has got a 33 by 33 inch work area. So just a little bit, not
Yeah.
even a half sheet of plywood. I mean, it's just about like almost like a quarter. So it's a little work area, but
And if you're thinking about a CNC and you're like, I don't have the room for it, definitely go to Drew's page and look at his build videos for his table, for his CNC table, and you kind of lose your excuse for not having room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I did design that table with that specific CNC in mind.
Yeah.
So it just barely fits on there, and it allows you to flip the table up vertically and stow it away in a corner because, my space is at such a premium down in my little basement workshop. I need every square foot I can get. This allows me to tuck it away.
Do you think a CNC, like a lesser, say the Inventables, since we've already kind of brought that in, could handle like being on that axis like that? Or,
No.
is that the robustness of the Onefinity that kind of allows that to happen?
Yeah, the X-Carve couldn't. I mean, you could tip it up, but you couldn't operate it vertically like that.
Yeah.
The Onefinity actually has wall mounting kits that you can mount the entire CNC up on the wall if you want. Even like if you get their huge one now, you can mount that up on the wall, and it, because of the robustness of the motors and the ball screws
Yeah.
that it uses, that it can do that. Actually, there's a video of some dude mounting it on the wall and then sitting on the gantry and raising it up, so it was lifting him up like
Oh, wow.
an elevator. So it is extremely powerful. There's
Must not be
another
a full-grown Southern boy, or he. I don't know if I
there-
can get on there after a couple of biscuits.
Let me
I don't
try
know.
Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you this. There is a video of Ben Myers from Myers Woodshop. He has a Onefinity. He put it on the ground, and he drove his tractor over it.
No way.
And it didn't flex or bend at all. So that just goes to tell you how strong these things are. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable how tough the Onefinity have made their machines.
I wish I had $1 for every time I've built a Onefinity and put it in the cart and have gotten this close to pulling the trigger. Because if I had, I would have one I would have a free one by now. I have done it that many times, and every time I get on the edge and ready to pull the trigger, I just back off for some reason. I want to so bad, but I'm a little intimidated by it, like the techie side of it. Like,
Well, I totally get it. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. What software do you use? Because they don't have their own software. Now, Inventables, they got their start as a software company. So Inventables, they basically already had the software, and they use Easel. They had that before, like they had their CNC. So then there's companies like Onefinity where they have an incredible machine, but they don't have their own proprietary software, which, if you ask me, that's a good thing, because I continued to use Easel since I was so familiar with it.
Yeah.
And since it was free and since I had access to it, I used Easel to operate my Onefinity. And after a while, I did some work with Vectric, and now Vectric, I'm on contract with them for a year where they are allowing me to use VCarve Pro. And VCarve Pro is an incredible piece of software for your CNC, and that works with every CNC. But
yeah, I'm with you. I want my building engineers that are really good at building the machine. Like, let's just do that. Let's just focus at making us the best machine we possibly can, and we'll let the software engineers, whoever they are, build really good software, and we'll just accept it. We'll accept their software.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to focus so much on singing the praises of Onefinity. They are awesome, but they've been extremely good at further innovation and focusing just on the machine and how can we make this thing better? What more things can we offer? So check them out if you're interested in the least. Go and check them out. Onefinity CNC is their website. Or you can reach out to me. Go to my website, FisherShopOnline.com, and reach out to me, because I have compiled an entire list of reasons why I chose and settled on the Onefinity over considering the other ones. Now, it's a bit dated. Since I put together this list, there have been other companies that have stood up other machines too that are trying to compete with Onefinity. So there may be some other really awesome options out there as well.
Yeah, obviously, as I said, I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. But one of the things that keeps bringing me back to the Onefinity, and even though the fact that we're about to get a production level, I still think that there's a hole for that smaller table based on a couple of other, videos that I've watched and some information I've gotten. But that I keep coming back to the Onefinity is because they're going back and make sure I'm saying it right, but they're coming out with like upgrades for some of the older machines, and not necessarily saying, well, I'm sorry you bought the late 5 year ago model, you're done. If you want something nice and cool, now you got to buy the latest greatest model, or you're just out. And that's comforting to me, knowing that, okay, if I buy the latest and greatest now in 5 more years, like that they're hopefully they're going to keep that one going as well, just like they've shown that they're going to do.
Yeah, it's not like you're buying an iPhone and the next month they come out with the next iPhone and you're stuck. So this one, you're absolutely right. With Onefinity, they are providing different avenues for you to upgrade whatever machine you have, whatever model you have, to the latest and greatest stepper motors, the latest and greatest controller, or the new spindle, or all these other options. So, they're definitely not forgetting about the people that have purchased the older machines. And if you wanted to do a trade-in, you can even trade in your older version and get one of the new ones. And then they use the turned-in machines or the returned ones, and they refurbish them and make sure that they're perfect. And they send those out to what is it, like they have a veterans discount, or they send it to, like, I don't know if it's like the Wounded Warriors or whatever, but they have some really cool programs in place where they supply machines for, like, some schools as well. So it's really cool, really exciting to be a part of that. But back to what you were saying before. that you were intimidated about getting your machine. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to stress that so was I when I originally got the machine. But since I have gotten a machine, I really started to, it's almost like my eyes were opened. I really started to see all the different applications that I can use it for that I didn't realize. And had I realized all of these ways where I could use my machine ahead of time, I wouldn't have hesitated in buying it.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, right now, what do you envision using a CNC for? Because I think you're probably going to relate to many of your listeners right now.
I mean, for us, jigs and templates would be like right at the top, of things to be able to, to crank out, with precision, whether it's just, hinge mounting jigs, templates, for, routing templates and things like that. But also like, some of our, fluted front doors or, some of our, the reeded style doors, I'd love to be able to drop them in the machine and be able to do those in-house, versus, having to farm that out, because it's just so time and labor intensive to do it on your own that, without something like that to kind of work in the corner while you're building the cabinet.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
Yeah. Now, granted, the things that I'm using mine for are probably very different than what you would use yours for, especially if you're thinking about getting something that's on the level where you can drop down a 4x8 sheet of plywood and rip out some cabinets.
yeah.
I'm using mine primarily for like flattening end grain cutting boards or doing inlays, that sort of thing. Even like craft stuff. Like a couple of years ago for Halloween, I jumped on the bandwagon of doing all the little Halloween lanterns, making those little things out of like cedar fence posts. And I got onto Facebook Marketplace and sold them, hey, $15 a piece for a little lantern. And I made about $5,000 just selling little lanterns over the Halloween season. But yeah, I guess it really depends what you want to do with it. But I mean, just with that one little goofy idea of making the Halloween lanterns, I paid for that machine and more. I made made money on that. So you can really recoup all that cost very, very quickly.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do on it because I don't, not playing with it, don't know what all is there. But the idea of having something in the corner working while I'm able to do something else is, in my world and in my mind, is like everything that I want.
Yeah. And I think, like, where Travis lives, to be fair, where I live, there's nobody here. I mean, I live it's literally out in the middle of nowhere. Where Travis lives,
he can't spend money in his town.
There's nothing for sale in my zip code. So there's not a store, there's nothing. So it probably wouldn't work here. But for somebody who lives more metropolitan, closer to a bigger city, man, if you found something that you could bust out real quick and sell for fairly low cost, you're talking about generating dollars all day, every day, selling them, and it doesn't really matter what it is. It could be something, just whatever, some household trinket or some, holiday themed, type stuff you could do. And I mean, I see stuff for sale all the time like that. And it's like, if you had an audience to buy it locally would probably be better, but I guess it'd be the same online. Man, that machine can really make a difference in your monthly income.
Yeah, absolutely it can.
Yeah, I've talked to my daughter, my youngest daughter, the last one at home, and I'm like, is this something that you might be interested? Because she's still she's a senior this year and still trying to figure out, what to do in the world. I'm like, is this something that you might be interested in? And the reason why I'm kind of like trying to key in on her is because she's constantly on TikTok and on, and all these other things. I'm like, you see what's trending. Like, you see these things that are coming around and your little friends are wanting to buy faster than I am. By the time I know about it, it's it's nothing that you want to buy anymore. You know, it's like, is this something that you would want to look into doing? And like, we'll go to some of the downtown shops and see if we can, you know, put 5 or 6 of these things in the downtown shops, you know, and this is kind of your side hustle. Like, we'll do it, you know, on the hobby side of the machines, you know, on the smaller machine, and like get her that experience, you know, of creativity and learning the coding and small business and, you know, all the things. And also, you know, possibly create a brand, you know, of something that could take off, you know. That's one area we've looked at it a lot, you know, is this a viable possibility? Because I think if you're going to be in like those little, you know, the boutique stores, you've got to have somebody who's got their thumb on the pulse of what's hot right now. And it's 5 minutes long sometimes. And I'm always out, you know, I'm never in on the trend of anything.
Yeah. I want to make this. Well, that was cool, you know, 3 years ago.
Yesterday. Yeah. You just missed out. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I rode the wave of the Halloween lanterns, and I'm done with it. I did it again last year. So the first year was the most profitable. Like I said, I made about $5,000, and I was excited about it. I'm like, oh my goodness, let's roll right into maybe Thanksgiving. Can I do like turkey lanterns? I don't even know if that's a thing. And then I decided against that, and I'm like, well, what about like Christmas lanterns? Yeah, that might work. I mean, a lot of people do like luminarias or whatever, those other kind of lanterns, and like I could probably turn this into a non-pumpkin looking lantern and maybe come up with some new designs. And so I came up with a bunch of designs for Christmas, and I made about probably $2,000 during the Christmas season. I'm like, okay, wasn't nearly as popular, but it did work. Then the next year, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do Christmas, but I'll definitely do Halloween again, because that was just killer. Man, I did really well.
It'd be silly not to try it again at that rate.
Right. Did it again and didn't even make half as much money the next year. And it's kind of like it's phasing out. It's not, it's just like, you know, like you said, Mitch, it's no longer popular. It's not the end thing anymore. And at that point, after that one, is my wife was like, okay, you got to stop making these stupid things. We have so many of them around. So
every room in the house is just filled with it.
Yeah, I was basically giving them away, and now we don't have any left. But yeah,
you get a lantern, and you get a lantern.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah,
well,
we
what
started.
Do you think? Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's kind of the same thing. My wife makes. Used to raise a lot more, but we raised goats, and I was like, these things need to make money, you know. And Tammy's like, well, I could try to make soap, and so she did. She would go milk them and make the soap, and it's crazy how, you know, you're always going to have your core group of people who will buy from you. Hey, I'm out of soap. We just get a mess. I'm out of soap. Throw some in a bag, ship it, whatever. You know, people will stop by. But I noticed on holiday on markets. Right, so we put one on here, and it usually does pretty good. We have 30, 40 vendors, something like that, and, you know, people sell everything. The spring market, we do terrible at the spring market. We don't sell a lot of soap, but the people who are selling the cookies and the cakes and the pies and the little things, mainly food items, they do really good. But then during the holiday market or the Christmas market, which is what we call it, the soap sells off the rack. I mean, we just sell because people are looking for gifts, you know, for other people. When they show up in the spring, they're just out because it's a pretty day, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna put a $20 bill in my pocket. We're gonna see what we can buy with this, you know. And they wind up getting a cookie or, you know, whatever. So it's crazy kind of to watch the market. You know, these people are selling the exact same products in the spring market and the Christmas market, and the cookie and cake people, they don't do that good. But we're just over there like just throwing soap off, you know. And it's crazy to kind of take that data that you have and try to use it for good, and try to kind of line people up where they're going to sell the most, during, depending on which ones. But at the end of the day, most of it is a gamble. You just kind of have to put it out there. Well, I did really good with it last year, and then now this year, I didn't sell as many of them or whatever. It's almost impossible to keep up with. But I think as long as you have, the desire to get in and design and try to come up with something, man, I say go for it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, never stop just trying to push stuff out there.
Yeah, and to be fair, I only did it for 2 years. Before, and I think to get an accurate sample, I'd probably have to do it for maybe like 5 years, but I don't know if some of these trends even last 5 years.
Yeah. I mean it's crazy. I mean there's one famous YouTuber. I mean he made a boatload of money off of these CNC little change dishes. They were drop dishes at the end of the day. They drop your phone, drop your wallet, drop your change in. Just a little tabletop. I mean, and he grew to multi-million-dollar, business, and that was the start. It was just that little widget.
Wow.
So I mean, you don't know what your Post-it note's going to be,
right,
until you put pen to paper and try to create something and try to get it out the door, and you got to sample your market. I wouldn't go build 50 of these widgets, from the jump. What can I afford to do? So let's say we'll do 10 widgets, see how they sell, I mean, and if I'm putting them at a price point that I just can't build them fast enough, well, maybe we need to increase the price point just a little bit, and that'll kind of slow that down, and we're getting our profits better. There's a whole lot of backdoor math to it, but, I think the biggest thing is just getting over the fear factor, and the intimidation factor. And I'm talking to myself right now a little bit too, and like, being willing to make the jump, and I should have, the more I think about it, the more I should have done like the Onefinity, because I could have started smaller with not all the whiz, and unfortunately I'm just not wired that way, but I could have started without all the whiz bangs and got it growing. And as I got a little CNC hobby shop going, took my profits and upgraded my machine and upgraded my machine and upgraded my machine, and slowly gotten there without having to take such a big risk at the front end.
I think you should get one, because I've got a lot of work for you to do. I've got jigs. I've got a list of jigs that we need to make. So as quick as you get it, the better.
Producer said that your jigs will be very expensive.
No, don't worry about that. Don't worry about her.
I have a guy who makes granite or marble or like the countertops. He deals with stone in my area. And oddly enough, speaking of these goofy Halloween lanterns, he and his wife stopped by to buy one of my Halloween lanterns. His wife thought that they were neat, and they pick them up, and they're holding them, or he's holding them in his hand, and he's like, "How did you make these? These don't look like they were cut with a saw." And I said, "Oh, I have a CNC machine downstairs." She's like, "Really? Okay." I have a granite shop, and I need to cut sinks, like holes for sinks through the stone. And I was fascinated. I'm like, "How do you do that?" He's like, I use a router with a special bit. I'm like, "No kidding. I didn't know that."
I didn't know it was a router either.
Yeah. And he's like, "What I could really use is a template, though." So he and I have an understanding, and since then I've made about half a dozen templates for him, where he gives me the dimensions of a sink that he got from a manufacturer, and he drops off a big piece of like PVC board. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like HDF.
Yeah, and I just plop it down on my CNC, and I cut out this shape for the sink, and then I hand both pieces back to him, and he buys that jig for me. And like when he goes and does a new countertop, he'll fasten that down, and then he traces it with his router and cuts out a sink. He said it. He's like, they're absolutely perfect. They work perfect for him. I was like, "Well, great. Yeah, keep coming back. I'll cut you all the jigs you want."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, go ahead, Travis.
No, I was just saying it's amazing where you can find these little holes, that, I speaking of my youngest daughter, I was like, there is so much out there that you could do for a career and to find, like, don't get stuck in thinking mainstream. We think of these like 10 things, like that you should do as a career. I was like, there's so much more out there that
Yeah.
that you just don't know there, and that's little widgets and gizmos that need to be sold and made and represented, out there that can be fun, creative jobs.
Yeah, and I would say a big trend that has kind of surfaced over the last maybe 5 years has been personalization.
Yeah.
So the ability to have something personalized for you is a big deal to people now. So with that, comes like, how do I personalize something? Well, I could, with a CNC, I can do an inlay of your last name or something like that on the cutting board or on the piece of furniture. I can do that.
Yeah.
But additionally, like Onefinity has options to attach a laser. So you can now laser engrave or burn personalized engravings onto your project piece, which is huge. I mean, if
Yeah.
you go onto Etsy right now,
Oh yeah.
probably like 75% of the crafts out there are either laser cut or laser engraved. And you can now do that with a CNC.
Yeah, and you can do it two machines or one machine that does two things,
Yep.
Oh, that now you're yeah. And I mean, there's a point where if you, because we do jigs and stuff all the time, I recognize all the time where I need something a specific size, but it has to be perfect. And we spend a lot of time trying to get this jig perfect, and then in a production cabinet shop or custom cabinet shop, actually would be a better term. These jigs change over time. They, you're adapting them, or maybe you swap brands of hinges or something, And so if you pay somebody, hey, I want you to make this jig for this hinge or this plate, and then for whatever reason you swap, now you're paying him to make another jig for another plate. So when
Or
our
employee
industry
loses the jig, kid steps on the jig.
steps on it, tears it up. What I'm saying is there's a point to where the cost of the CNC, you get an ROI on that, based on the stuff that you need. And I bet you if you had one and you built a few jigs, it would pop into your head and you'd be like, ooh, I can CNC this thing out. I can cut this
Yeah.
out. And then you would just see thousands of ideas you could do with it, so.
I would wager a guess and say that you would have to be trying really hard to fail in order to not have a 1 year ROI on your CNC. So in other words, if you get a CNC, you're going to recoup that cost within 1 year if you are trying to. Like, if you're not just going to buy it and stick it in your basement,
Right.
and just say, hey guys, I have a CNC, and not use it, well then yeah, of course you're not going to earn any money with it. But if you buy it with an idea and are genuinely seeking to make something and to make something to sell, I think it's going to be very hard for you to fail to not earn enough money to recoup that cost 100% within the first year.
There you go.
What would you say from kind of your learning perspective from across a couple of machines, across a couple of different softwares? I mean, obviously you're going to probably recommend the Onefinity, but
well, it depends.
for the beginner guy, for the beginner person, like what kind of level would be a good starting level, like size wise? What are some things to consider? I guess maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. So it totally depends basically on what you want to be making. Okay. So Travis, like you're talking about getting a Onefinity, and maybe you're thinking more or less hobby sized projects, right? Where Mitch, you're thinking of a CNC with maybe like commercial grade cabinet producing type of
Yeah.
tasks in mind, right? So those are two completely different avenues right there.
Right.
Not to say that you can't do one with the other, but you're just limited with obviously the hobby-sized work areas of the Onefinity. Onefinity has got some larger machines, and they're coming out with something even bigger, but as of right now, I think the machines that you have are not going to be capable of doing an entire 4x8 sheet of plywood.
Their 4x4 is the biggest one right now, right?
I think that, well, they have the foreman, and they have the journeyman. So a journeyman and then the foreman. The foreman's even bigger, I think, and that they're coming out with something even larger.
Oh, wow.
What that workspace is going to be, I don't know what the work area of the new one is going to be. But considerations, obviously space is a big one. The larger machine you get, it probably doesn't make sense to try to build a flip-up table for that. You're probably going to want to leave it completely deployed all the time. I've seen people make platforms for their CNC that lower from the ceiling, so like they can winch it all the way up to the ceiling when they don't use it. I've seen people build large assembly tables over the top of their machine, and whenever they want to use their machine, they have to like crouch down and put the material in like while they're crouched, and that could be a little tedious, but those are for people that aren't using it all day every day.
Right.
So that's another consideration. I would say a big consideration is the bits that you're going to be using, because you can go out on Amazon and you can look up, cheap 1/8 inch CNC bits, and you could buy them by the handful for super cheap, but they are awful. They're absolutely awful. You'll get through like one or two boards and they'll break.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind changing bits, then okay, then maybe that works for you. But if you're going to be looking for reliability, consistency, and time efficiency, you're going to want to invest in some really good bits. And I have seen the difference. The difference is night and day between a quality bit and a poor quality one.
Well, it's just like a saw blade. I mean, there's a difference.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's nothing like using a sharp tool that's going to stay sharp. And for my bits, I've been working with my friend Cody Elkins. He owns and makes all his own bits over at Cadence Manufacturing and Design. So his bits are phenomenal, and they're like the only bit that I use, except for flattening. He doesn't make a flattening bit.
Okay.
If he did, I'd use that. But for flattening, I spoke before about flattening end grain cutting boards. You don't really want to put those things through a planer because, your planer will explode. So I flatten them on the CNC, and I use this amazing flattening bit that I purchased from a company called High Country Tools. Another great guy. And once you find the right bits that work well for what you're doing, it's just a game changer. And so that's a big consideration, is knowing ahead of time. It's like, okay, I'm going to have to find a bit that is going to be able to keep up with what I want to do. I want to be able to rip a cabinet, with a 1/4 inch compression bit in one single pass, and that bit needs to be moving at 150 IPM. What can I do? And there's only a few bits that can even do that.
Right.
So you would have to be able to research that out and invest in that, and because they're not cheap. They're not like the cheap, junky ones you can get off of Amazon.
Yeah.
So that's a consideration. Another one,
And
I would go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to interject there, and safety is a big thing when you have a bit spinning that fast. Cheaper is not always the best option. Even if you think you can just get through it, I mean, you have to keep that in mind. You don't want that sucker coming apart.
Yeah, I don't love cheaper in the router bit. Like,
Yeah.
there's some lines there. I think
Yeah, I have snapped a fair share of CNC bits. I would dare say I'm proficient at breaking CNC bits. So yeah, I definitely know the difference between a quality one and a poor quality one. And I'll tell you, it just breaks your heart when you put in your quality bit and then user error, like you accidentally hit the wrong control and you just drive that bit straight down into your wood.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've done that too. And
that's
it just
the other
breaks your heart.
intimidating factor for me. That is because I'm not always paying attention. And can
Well,
be
Travis,
quite
what you need to
clumsy
do
sometimes.
what you need to do is don't start with the expensive bit. You need to
Right.
start with a $3 Amazon bit, and they'd be like, okay, don't do that. All right, wow, that could have been a $150 bit in there.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of truth to that, actually. And there's some practices that I've learned to do just because I've made so many mistakes, and I'm checking and double checking and triple checking,
Yeah.
making sure that, okay, everything is perfect. And I guess one thing to remember is that the CNC, it's going to do exactly what you tell it to do.
Yep.
So if it does do the wrong thing, it's because you messed up and you told it to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So I guess in that respect, it's the exact opposite of like what your teenager will do, right? It
Yeah.
does exactly what you tell it to do. So there, in some cases, like if I'm going to start a big engrave or a big inlay, I will actually tell it that the zero is not the surface of the material. It's actually 2 inches above it. And then I execute it. So then I can just sort of watch it as it moves around in midair, pretending to carve. And it's like, okay, I think that looks good. Okay, I'm going to stop it and tell it where the material actually is, and then I'll kick it off again. So,
Yeah.
and you learn those things
Right.
after you make a bunch of mistakes.
What about power? Is electrical a consideration that new CNC owners need to consider?
So mine is, like we discussed, it's a smaller machine. It just runs on 110.
Okay.
There is 2 things that you need to power. There's the controller, and then there's the router itself. Furthermore, if you want to run dust collection, you probably want that to be on a different circuit. So mine is on a different circuit. And the reason why I say that is because dust collectors tend to draw a lot. So you don't want to pop a breaker and have everything come to a screeching halt and stop
The middle of your
because
carve.
in the middle of a
Power.
carve, because then it's absolutely ruined. There's
Yeah.
no way, no CNC can recover from that. I have my dust collector on a different circuit that runs on 220 anyways. But then my controller and my trim router, they both run on the same circuit, and it's just off of 110 because they don't draw much at all, and that's that. Now, I need to remind you though, the router that I'm using is just a little Makita trim router. It's not a CNC spindle. Onefinity has since come out with, they've partnered with Redline, and they have some amazing spindle options out there now. And some of those spindles are so beefy and so powerful that they need their own 220.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
power can be an issue.
Yeah.
But then you also need to do it in a smart way. You need to split up the circuits, I think, to be safe.
So it takes a little planning, as you're going through the process. Kind of plan out
it
what
does.
you want and what you have already and what you're capable of getting in. Because
Right.
as I recently learned when we moved into this new shop, you can't just ask for more power. You only have a limited amount of power.
Yep.
You got to equally distribute.
Yep.
Or your lights will flash when the toilet flushes. You know, it's so you want to put a little thought and consideration into those.
Little
and planning.
bit. I would say though the biggest fear factor for people looking to step into the CNC world has got to be the software.
Yeah.
I think when most people think about a CNC, they're like, I don't know how to do that thing. I'm intimidated by all things electronic and computer related. I just don't know how to program those things. And to that, I would say there's quite a few options out there, ranging from free to very expensive software packages. So you can get in absolutely free with the software, like for example, Easel. Easel's, from what I understand, still free. I could be wrong, but it's if not, I think Carvico you can do.
We'll fact check you.
Yeah, you can fact check me. But I think there are trials and free versions of the software that you can get that are extremely intuitive. Plus, as we had already discussed, there's about 150,000 videos on YouTube of people trying to teach you how to use these pieces of software.
Yeah, I mean, I know one guy that just released a pretty good Vectric video.
Yeah, but that
There you
guy's
go.
a dork. Yeah, you don't want to watch any of his. But no, that's true. I did just put out a tutorial, my first tutorial on how to use Vectric VCarve Pro, and VCarve is a fantastic piece of software. That if you want to get the VCarve program, I think it's like right around $300. I want to say $300, and I believe that is that's a one-time purchase, like one and done. And then if you want to get VCarve Pro, it goes up a little, like significantly. I think it's like $600, and that gives you some more features. But none of the features that I demonstrated in my tutorial were Pro specific. They were all available in the cheaper version, and it allowed me to do a fantastic project. I did all sorts of things, demonstrated how you can use VCarve to do some great signs. I did letters and signs and engravings and all that kind of stuff. So there is Aspire, which I think is like, I think at that point you're into thousands of dollars. So yeah, that is really expensive. But all of this to say that these programs are very intuitive. Even if you're not really comfortable with clicking around and figuring stuff out yourself, if you really kind of want somebody to hold your hand and show you, these programs are working. They work with people like you. So.
And it seems like a lot of these companies now, though, they're getting to the point where it's a little bit on the self-help side, where I can put in, I've got this bit, and it will give me recommended speeds and feeds for that bit.
That's absolutely true. So with VCarve, I downloaded all the tool database from Cadence Manufacturing. So since I use all Cadence bits, I just download their entire tool database. It pulls it right into the software, and then when I go and select what bit I'm using, all that stuff is already taken care of.
Yeah. So I imagine a lot of it is kind of two things: is you're going to get into it or get out of it what you put into it. So doing your homework and taking your time. But I imagine a lot of it is also your initial setup. Like taking the time to get that initial setup as dialed in as you possibly can through every resource that you can find, whether it's, manufacturer's information, different YouTube videos and self-helps, but getting that setup dialed in and not just being at a rush to, I got my machine, I want to see some chips fly. I feel like you would get more success in slow rolling your setup.
Maybe, but I don't know. I guess I don't necessarily agree with that. Because I sort of think if you are so concerned about researching every last bit, you'll never really know when you're done, and you'll kind of fall into analysis paralysis.
Okay.
You'll kind of be overly concerned, and you'll never click that buy button. And I just want people to just click the button and figure it out, because once it's there and on your doorstep and you're putting together the CNC. And by the way, the Onefinity, I have a video where I put it together in 15 minutes, the entire machine. So
that's
a
a
little
lot
bit
better.
different. Little bit different than 2.5 days, yeah, with the X-Carve.
Who's willing to bet my machine will come wired backwards?
Me.
I have a pocket hole machine that took over a year to diagnose. It was wired backwards the entire time.
Oh my gosh! So what?
It was doing the wrong steps in the wrong order
Oh, yeah. That's a problem.
for a year.
But yeah, I just think a lot of these people, and this goes towards people building other projects too in their shop. Just do it and grab your tools and just start doing it. And yes, you are going to mess up. You're going to make some mistakes, but after every single mistake, you're going to learn something. And pretty soon you're going to develop a comfort level. And then you're going to find certain routines and techniques, and you're going to be refining your process. And suddenly you're going to be really good at whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's building a bookcase or whether it's using the CNC. You just got to do it.
Yeah, and then somebody
I don't
comes
think
in.
I can say it any better than that.
Yeah. Somebody comes in and they're like, Travis, can you make me one of these? And day one, you're like, nope, I don't know. And then, after you've had it a few months, they come in and you're like, yeah, I can have that for you at 2 o'clock this afternoon. But yeah, I bought this cabinet shop. When I signed the paperwork on this cabinet shop, I had never built a cabinet. I didn't know anything about cabinetry. I couldn't tell you how wide a dishwasher was. I couldn't tell you how wide a range was. None of that. I bought the
Wow.
cabinet shop, and then I told my wife, I was like, we need to learn how to build cabinetry, and I mean quick, because we are in this thing now, and it worked out. But it sometimes it helps people to be thrown into a situation where they're not as hesitant to pull the trigger.
Well,
You know,
at
pull the
that point,
trigger, figure it out.
It's sink or swim at that
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
Literally,
Yeah,
Food is on the
yeah,
line.
because sinking wasn't an option. I mean, I got
Yeah.
kids to feed, and and I'm like, what are you doing? You're in the middle of nowhere, and you think you're going to sell cabinets, And then, well, here we are. It's crazy.
well, man, I think that is a really good place to call it, because I don't know that you could have put it any better than we could have put it any better than you did. That's, I can't tell how many times we've wrapped up a show or a section with take steps to go. Whether it's a big leap or whether you're making small incremental steps to those goals. That's just kind of always been the message, is just when you see something, start working for it. It's nothing worth having comes easy, and whether it's going full-fledged into a business or whether it's getting in on the hobby side of a new adventure, it's, you're not going to do anything sitting on the couch. You
That's
got to
right.
start moving towards it.
Although
Yep.
the couch can be really comfortable sometimes.
It can be. It can be. We all love that spot. But, that's for after we've gotten done with our adventures.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, Drew, man, thank you. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I mean, we got to hang out at IWF, and we're going to talk about IWF in this episode a little bit more too. And that was just such a surreal moment for me, and it was just such a humble experience. Just a fantastic guy, and I had so much fun in a place that I kind of didn't really want to be, and you didn't kind of really want to be there either that night.
Yeah.
Wasn't neither one of us are really in the party scene.
That's right.
But we're able to kind of find some common ground and hang out and have some really great conversation and start to develop a small little relationship, friendship. And we just appreciate you coming on and being with us as we go through our relaunch. We've been stagnant for about a year, and we're taking a real big stab at this thing as well. We got to practice what we preach. We want this thing to do something, and we're trying to make those steps as well. So we appreciate you so much for being a part of this. And
Yeah,
Oh, my
thank you so
pleasure.
much for
Giving
coming
your
on,
time.
man.
Yeah,
was
it's
great.
been a lot of fun. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you coming in, and thanks everybody for listening. And if you're here for part 2. Then we'll see you on the flip side of the break.
Thanks again, Drew.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome back, man. Again, thank you so much to Drew for for taking the time out to do that interview with us. I can't tell you again how much fun it was. It was really a lot of restraint to like just call the conversation. It's just trying to be respectful of his time. When we asked for 45 minutes and we were rolling over, I was like,
Yeah.
you know, it was the first time we'd asked for a favor like that. So I was like, man, I don't want to overextend his graciousness. So,
But how
that's
lucky are we, dude, though, honestly, to be able to do something like that?
Man, yeah, it was so much fun. When I met him at IWF, we were at the little concert thing like we talked about, and it just really wasn't neither one of our scene. Like if I'd have had somebody there that I knew to like maybe drink with a little bit, like I would have probably cut loose. But like if I'm in an environment like that, I don't really like to drink by myself. I feel like I'm like borderline alcoholic when I'm doing that. And so I didn't really, but I mean, it was free and it was something to do. So I went and wanted to hang out, and, it's actually really funny. It was right after he had this major hack. Go to his YouTubes and watch. He does a full video on like what happened and what he should have done and how he does things differently now. But he had just recently been hacked majorly, all of his accounts, everything, YouTube and everything. And I walked by and I was like, man, I hate to hear that happen to you, but I'm glad to see you recover it, like your show. And walked around a little bit, and then next thing I know, I kind of see him, and he's hanging out in the room, and I didn't know that he was with these 2 other guys that I had been talking to in line. So I really didn't go in there to talk to Drew. I actually kind of went there to talk to them because I'd already been kind of having some conversation with them in line while we were waiting to go into the building.
Yeah.
And then realized that they all knew each other and they were having a conversation. So I just interjected myself in their conversation for the rest of the night. I just kind of
That's one way to do it.
I just made myself welcome. And, and we hung out, and then we got done, and he actually invited me down to the show floor the next day. He's like, hey, we're doing a trivia, for Oneida. You want to come down and be a part of the trivia? And I was like, man, I'd love to. So I went down the next day and met them and did a little trivia thing for them. So just a superhuman being, just as real as they come, and it was just a blast. It was just a blast. And hopefully you learned something about a CNC.
Yeah.
I know I definitely did. I know I went back and looked at the Onefinity page 3 more times since we got done with the interview. And so, I mean, I'm still itching for a CNC of some sort, whether it's small or big. I still think you would have a blast with a little 4x4 in your building.
Oh, yeah.
But,
It would consume me, probably.
Yeah. But, man, I want one so bad. But, well, what is that?
What are you talking about?
What's on your screen?
Huh? Oh, are you talking about that?
That.
That is something very exciting that
It is.
you need to tell the people about and what the name of it is.
Yeah, it's a square.
It is a square.
Ironically enough, it's a square.
Who saw that one coming? But it's
Man,
not.
that
It's not
that completely
square-shaped.
lined itself up. No, it's
Yeah.
not, and that's what you meant for me to put on Trey's logo. Was
It
that?
is. Yeah, one of
Yeah,
those.
that completely not aligned up. This was completely coincidence that this whole thing went down. But so there's a little bit of a backstory I want to get into before we tell you everything about the square. And I'm not going to get into the down and dirty of it because I don't want to be that guy. But here's what's going on. There are some social media rules out there that essentially prevent us from posting links to the podcast in certain groups, i.e. groups that are tailored to people who would probably enjoy listening to this podcast because it's about woodworking.
Mm-hmm.
So probably woodworking groups. The long and short of it is that me posting in some of these groups has been deemed as self-promotion, even though if you promote your own work, and you're proud of your work, you're technically promoting yourself.
Yes,
But-
you are allowed to post pictures of things that you built for money.
Yeah, yeah. But not a podcast that you do for absolutely free.
Right.
But you might ask for people for a donation to support it, but they're not required to do so to still consume the content. Anyway, I don't understand it, but the long and short of it is I've been banned from most of these groups now. The majority of them, because I didn't take it lying down. I had it out with a couple of the admins, and at the end of the day, it's their page. The admin gets to make the rules for their page and can kick me out if I don't agree with their rules. That's the way the world works, and I'm fine with it. I don't agree with it at all. That is part of the reason why the Woodworkers Exchange group was created. I'm not hiding anything, or I got no shame. But I do feel like that there is a large audience out there of people who would enjoy this podcast. They're the audience that we sought after when we decided to do a podcast. And now we are not allowed. Basically, like, we can't say we didn't understand the rules now because I've been kicked for them. So if Mitch, who is still allowed in the groups, tries to promote the podcast, he would be kicked from the groups. And there's a lot of good content in those groups. There's a lot of learning that happens in those groups. There's a lot of information exchange, but there's also a oppressive thumb on some of those groups.
Mm-hmm.
But all that to say is that we need help getting the podcast out. And there is no penalty, no shame, no problem with you as a listener saying, hey, I like this podcast. Just like you saying, hey, I like this tool, or I like this paint brand, or I like this or that, and putting a link out there. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that. Like, it's kind of like the back door to promoting things, right? So, in an effort to help us do that, I reached out to a local woodworker here in the Columbia, Tennessee area. He actually lives in Nashville. Luke Maddox of TBP Toolworks. And I said, man, you are making some awesome stuff. Would you like to participate in a giveaway for us? And he was more than excited to be a participant in this. So TBP Toolworks on Instagram, man meets world, man_meets_wood. Wood,
yeah.
not world. I said world the first time. Sorry. I'm thinking Boy Meets World, like the TV show.
Yeah.
Is what made me think so. But anyway, so he gave us this. He's giving away this square to a listener. So here is how you participate in the giveaway. You must tag 3 people and share to be entered into the giveaway. If you are a Patreon member, so if you're a shop hand, you are automatically entered for 1 entry. Okay. If you are an apprentice, you are automatically entered for 2 entries. If you are a master craftsman, you are automatically entered for 3 entries. All of your shares will give you another entry that we will randomly draw a winner from. So if you're not a Patreon member and you want to get some extra entries, even if you just do it for this month and you decide next month I don't want to participate in Patreon, you get your entries, no problem.
Yep.
And then you do a share, you get bonus entries. So let me tell you about this square, because everybody likes something for free, and this sucker right here is absolutely free. It retails for $85 on his Etsy page. So if you want to go and take a look, we're going to put a link down below to his Etsy page because it's kind of hard to do on the screen, but it's TBP Toolworks at Etsy.com or .etsy.com. But this is a small square. It's made from stabilized old-growth Australian red cedar. It's harvested in northeastern Australia in the 80s. So, I mean, it's solid. It's not going to warp or twist or anything on you. It's good to go. The blade is 2 7/8 inch long. So it's a handy square. It's not a big giant thing you got to wield around. It's a nice handy square. Great for face frames. I love like a 2.5 inch square to have around for face frames. I think it's great. I mark and then I can do my alignment. It's made from O1 tool steel. It's great for small working details like dovetails, setting up machinery. Checking the edge of a board's probably square before cutting joinery. But Luke's primary interest is making period-style cabinets and furniture. He likes high-precision joinery, and these are the tools that he uses for his own woodworking. So he has graciously given us this item, and he's even shipping it on his dime. Mitch doesn't even have to ship this thing.
Don't even have to worry about it. And this,
No.
and I'm just going to throw this in. If you can't see it, this thing is beautiful. It's brass, it's steel, and it's it's wood. I mean, the colors on it are pretty. The wood is dark. I mean, it's handmade. This dude makes this stuff, and
we're going to post it on the socials. We'll look at Instagram. We'll post it up there as well.
Yeah, it'll be on all those.
And Luke didn't bat an eye. I was like, hey man, here's what we got going on. We're a small podcast. We're trying to grow. This is our mission. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to, bring woodworking to people. We're trying to encourage people to take a step to start their own business, or even just at a hobby level, just to get out there and try the woodworking world. And he's like, man, I'm in. There was no hesitation from the start. And Luke and I have never met face to face at all. I just reached out to him. He's in one of the two groups that I'm still allowed to be in, Nashville Woodworkers group. He's in that group, and I reached out to him. I was like, hey man, we would just really appreciate if you would be willing to give us a hand in this. And he jumped full fledged. So, if you don't want to be an entry, if you don't want to participate in our like and share, go buy something from his Etsy page. He's got squares. He's got scribe knives. I'm ordering a scribe knife. I've been wanting one. I've been putting it off, and he supports us. I'm going to support him. I'm going to order one from him.
Yeah, I'm going to get one of those knives too. I mean, there's times I was like, dude, if I had a market knife right now, I'd be the bee's knees. And just like us, man, just like the Facebook page, the Woodworkers exchange it. Like, we'll gladly tell you about this guy's stuff, and he's not paying us, for this or anything like that. It's just we want to help people that are doing stuff on their own and going out and doing this kind of thing. We feel like sometimes they need a little help, or they want a little help, or they like a little help, or they like a little, share, or go check it out, or whatever, and it's really good looking stuff he's got on there.
They really are. Yeah, and it's all made from like some old growth stabilized stuff. I mean, it's just really nice. I mean, if you appreciate handmade items that are made with quality, go check it out. But I just can't thank him enough for jumping in there. And and again, like Mitch brought up the Woodworkers Exchange, go over there and check it out. Yesterday, I posted, I made a post. I said, support those who support us. Where are you getting your materials? Tell us where you're at, and, where are you getting items from? Tell us about your little local guy that's knocking it out of the park for you. Everybody knows who Worth is, or, some of these bigger guys, Hood, or, some of the other guys, but, like Mitch with Vaughn Plywood has been a major supporter of his. We have Mims Lumber here in Nashville, who's a major supporter of ours. It's a family-owned local mom and pop that, just looks after us over and over, time and time again. The big guys, we got to support the big guys too. Don't get me wrong, because they can get things that the other guys can't get. I mean, or it just doesn't make sense for them to be a middleman in, because then we're just overly paying for things just to support, and that system eventually breaks down. But when you got somebody, I mean, like my local guy, he's looking at like this alternate route to get a certain brand of plywood in, and I don't even understand it all. There's some kind of, and I don't want to say too much, but there's certain regional restrictions and whatever. But he's like, this is a good brand of plywood. I want to have it for you guys. This is what I'm trying to do to get it. I'm looking at like 2 train cars of plywood to be able to get this material in for my customers. We're like, oh man, that is so awesome. And they've come through us on a couple of charity builds, a couple of things, or like I mentioned, homecoming's coming up. It's like, hey, homecoming's around the corner. Be saving me some less than stellar 3/4 that gets damaged and whatnot, if you don't mind. And they'll set a couple of sheets aside for me, and the kids get those, and we get to use them. They cost me little or nothing a lot of times, Your big guys just aren't. They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna help you out like that. They're not going. Oh, hey, remember Travis said if we get a damage sheet, he sure would like to have it.
Yeah.
After Travis drives off, they could care less.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
real quick, I'm just going to give, while we're on this, I'll give Vaughn a little shout out. I was messing with him. I said, y'all, we got the podcast going up again. They actually asked me about it.
Okay.
And they said, you hadn't talked about us any, have you? I said, oh, yeah. Yeah, I talk about Vaughn Plywood. And they're like, uh-oh. I said, you boys better act right. Otherwise, I can't be in control of what happens on the podcast, But I went in there one time, and I like the 53WC, the Revashelf double trash can pull out.
I don't understand how you know model numbers and I don't understand how you remember that stuff. Like, you can route off model numbers to saws and Revashelf pullouts and your hydrosylator on your truck, and I just don't get it. I don't understand how you do that. I can barely remember my own phone number.
It's probably ADD or something like that. It's just a hyperfixation on knowing the model.
It's kind of impressive.
Well, it's 53WC 1835 UMSC. That's the complete model number.
Yeah, he just made up a bunch of numbers.
No, you could go to Revashelf, fact check me.
Nobody's
fact check me.
Nobody had a pen or piece of paper to write that down with.
I'll say it again, 53WC 18. Anyway, so I was like, can you guys get this? And he was like, yeah, we can get it. And I said, okay. He goes, how many do you go through a month? I said, probably 2. And they're like, all right, dude, went in there the other day. There's 2 of them sitting against the wall, have cat scratch written on it. Like, they order it. And Charles was like, well, how much do you pay for it now? I said, we ain't worried about that. Because they're not going to be $500 more than somebody else. This thing is not that expensive. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I said, are you
under? It is if you're not on the distributor side of it.
Right. Oh yeah, it's that's crazy.
Be a consumer to try to go buy a Revashelf item, and whew.
Yeah, I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to charge for this stuff, dude? I could have been a millionaire by now.
It is what you're supposed to charge, yes.
But I gave him a dollar number. I said, is it under this dollar number? He goes, yeah. And I said, we're fine then. Don't worry about it. I don't get into bidding wars with people like that.
Yeah.
And they keep them there. They keep a 5/8 edge banding there just for me. They keep the Harbor Resources adjustable rear brackets there just for me. Like, I've got an area in the closet. And I don't do $1 million a month with these people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm small time compared to some of their places that they sell to. But a lot of times the smaller companies are willing to, they're willing to have stuff. Like, I'm paying for it. It's not free. But, they're willing to go through the trouble to make sure it's always there. So
well,
it's good to have that.
Brings me to one of the notes from yesterday. So I put it in yesterday. So I left a distributor yesterday about sideways when I pulled out of their parking lot. I was so mad and frustrated. So I drove there. I left there about a 40-minute drive. So I left from here, went to go, and I needed to get some 10-foot plywood. I just needed 2 sheets of 10-foot plywood, and I needed some walnut for this walnut vanity. And I know they have a policy that they won't let you sort through the walnut, which I get it why, because people are sorting through, and if it's got any sapwood in it, they're not taking it. Mm-hmm. And then they're just ended up, then you end up with a bundle of sapwood walnut at the end of the day. And, if you're using walnut, you've got to use some sapwood. It's just part of it.
Yep.
And I said, well, I need to get some walnut. And he said, well, how much? I said, well, I'm not exactly sure. I need to go lay it out. I said, can we go lay it out and see? He's like, no, I can't let you sort through the walnut. I said, I understand that. I said, but I said, we can pull from the top. I said, I just want to lay it on the ground. I was like, because that way I can see how sappy it is and how much I'm going to have to cut out of some of these boards so that I make sure I got enough, because I needed a full panel, 28 inches tall and, like 48 inches wide. Mm-hmm. So I needed to create this full panel. And if I had to cut, some of the sapwood out and make my panel, that was fine. But I just wanted enough extra board to be sure I had that, right? And he's like, no, you can't. You can't sort through it. I said, well, if I can't even ensure that I got enough material when I get the 45-minute drive back home, then why would I buy anything from you?
Yeah,
I
because
said,
this
I'm not-
stuff's not $5 a sheet.
No. And I was like, I'm not trying to sort through it. I said, I just want to lay it out and make sure I have enough after I remove the parts that I don't want from it. I was like, but I also am making a furniture grade piece. Like, I can't get a piece with a big giant knot hole in the center of it. Like, what am I going to do with that? Don't worry about the hole in your drawer face. I couldn't sort through the lumber. I mean, that doesn't work. And it was just so frustrating. I was like, because I had left, you leave here early to get, I'm at their door when they open,
Yeah.
I mean, when they rolled up the roll-up door, I was like, good morning, and
I'm here to spend money with you guys. I
Yes.
have money I would like to give to you.
yes, I would like to swipe my credit card, please. And so I left sideways. I was so frustrated. And so now another 40-minute drive to Nashville to my local guys. And I get there, and I'm like, "What's up, fellas? You didn't know your day was gonna be this good, did you? And I was like, I need some walnut, and of course, I get a rash of crap from them because that's just the relationship.
Yep.
Because it never fails when I want something from them. It's always buried in the back. It never matter. It doesn't matter what it is. I can go there for 3/4 2-sided ply, and they're like, yeah, it's in the back buried. Well, give us 10 minutes. I'm like, it just never fails. But, they're like, we'll dig it out. Just give us a minute. And so here comes the fork, with a whole lot of, 13/16, lumber. And, I'm just laying that on the floor. I'm picking it around. That color doesn't really match as well. Let me put this one in. Let me get this. Oh, that one matches much better. And it ended up with a great, continuous panel, And I took some pieces with sapwood in them. I was like, I don't mind. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to completely avoid the sap. I was like, but I got to have what I need,
Right.
But it was a stupid. I understand. I do understand the policy, but at some point you got to like bridge the gap on that thing,
Yeah.
It was.
At the end of the day, you're there to sell a product that the customer wants. So
Yeah.
if you're getting half your plywood is crap and half your plywood is good, and that's why you're not letting people pick through it, newsflash, you need to talk to your supplier.
Yeah.
It's not our problem. If we are paying you, because the piece with no sapwood costs as much as the piece with sapwood,
Yep.
right? There's no, it's not like it's half the price. So if you go in there for premium walnut, you should be able to buy 5 boards and all 5 boards be premium. That's why they label it premium.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
why
the
they
same
charge that
distributor,
much.
I got some 8/4 white oak one day for a countertop we were doing, and as I was putting it on the truck, I kid you not, I could have thrown a softball through the knot hole in one of these.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not going to work, fellas. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, this is for a tabletop. Like, we're not an epoxy shop, but there's not enough epoxy in the world to fill this hole. Like, there's nothing to it. There's no bottom in it at all. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, this is not going to work for a top, and they, kind of begrudgingly let me swap it out because they had already, calculated the board foot on that particular piece. And, to get another piece, the board foot's not going to be exact. I said, man, just get me close. I was like, if I'm under, I'm a little under, I've already paid. I don't care, I don't care that much, but I care about there being a, softball size hole in this board. There's nothing I can do with that.
Right. And I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone to Vaughn and I'll say, okay, I need 160 board foot paint grade maple. What length do you want? Don't care. How wide do you want it? Don't care. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
it's all paint grade maple, so you don't have to be that picky with it. None of it is just slapped full of knots. There's knots in it every now and then, but nothing
Right.
crazy. And I'll say, whatever you guys sell the least of and get stuck with, I'll take that. Now, if I have a choice, I like to get it 12 foot long or less, because the 14 foot is kind of hard to deal with in the shop on the table saw. I don't have the room to, cut it.
On the
It's 14,
backside.
yeah, 14 feet long, man.
Yeah.
But I never do that. Now, there was one time where I went in there and I was going to get some white oak. And I said, I know y'all don't like picking, people picking through the wood or whatever. I said, but I got like 30 board feet and it needs to look the same, And they're like, we
Yeah.
don't care. Go back there. We're not doing it for you. Go back there and clean up your mess and pick through every month, because I come with, 8, 9 years of not caring what I get. Just send me whatever you guys want to send me, And so there's a trade-off with that. But the bigger companies, the people that look down their nose at, I cannot stand when a company looks down their nose at somebody trying to do business with them.
Yeah.
There's no call for that.
Yeah, I was like 12 foot. I'm like 12-foot boards over 5 inches wide. That's like all I need. Like just don't send me 4-inch boards, because then I get like 1-2 inch rip out of it.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's just kind of hard. I was like, there's just a lot of waste off of that. But I was like, other than that, I don't really care on maple. Like,
funny,
it's no big deal.
Funny story. They on this last order, matter of fact, I ordered 6 sheets of 1/2-inch UV 2-sided.
Uh-huh.
For those of you who don't know, it's finished on. It's got a clear coat on both sides of the plywood. Pretty stuff's what we use for cabinet interiors. So, and I ordered 3 of these, and and they're working with me because I don't order by the unit. So a unit is a complete pallet of plywood. I don't even know how many sheets come on a unit. Roughly?
I learned this the other month. It drastically depends on the manufacturer.
Okay.
Because we got one brand and it was like 48 sheets, something like that, and we got another brand. It barely fit in the racks because it was like 62 sheets.
Yeah.
Like
All right. Well,
and it was a drastically different price for the unit.
Yeah.
For the unit, we're like, oh, it's like a $1,200 difference. Like, well, we're like, whoa.
We just wanted one unit,
Yeah.
So I don't get it by the unit. I can order 1 sheet of this and 5 sheets of that. So the order's all over the place. The reason I don't order it by the units, I just simply don't have room down front for 8 units of plywood. So it's only happened like twice in 8 years, but every now and then they'll swap a couple numbers up or something, and have a few sheets that I didn't get. So I sent Tommy, this time they sent 3 sheets of UV 2-sided instead of 6. Now if that's the worst mistake I ever made, I'd be a happy man. I made like expensive mistakes. So anyway, I called them. And I was like, hey, just heads up, I'm 3 sheets short on this. And they're like, oh, man, we're sorry. I said, look, dude, don't apologize to me. It happens. That's why I don't work there. I said, I'm going to send Tommy up there to pick it up. And they're like, all right, that's fine. Send him on. So the next day I send Thomas up there. And Charles, the owner, he tells me, he says, well, look, you tell your daddy, I need photo and video proof that plywood didn't show up on that, on the rack. And Tommy's like, all right. And Tommy said, well, I'm sure they'll probably just bring it up on the podcast, and let everybody. And Charlie goes, no, we ain't got to do that. Just go ahead and load it up and take it out there.
We'll tell all 10 people on the podcast what Volume Plywood did.
There's 8 people that don't even live around here. They're going to hear about this,
right?
know?
Yeah.
But
2
anyway,
of them are our parents. They ain't buying no plywood anyway.
Yeah. Now, he also gave me all the plywood for the house. Remember that?
Yeah.
When we built the house for the cabinets. He's like, I'm going to give you all this plywood at cost. It's not going on your credit. You pay it back in a month, in 2 years. We don't care. You pay it back, but it's going to be at cost. And so, they're just freaking great people. I love those guys.
Yeah.
Anyway,
man, yeah. I mean, just support the people who support you. That's basically what it comes down to. But yeah, so be on the socials. Get those posts and the show and get those shared out, and we just appreciate it because we're going hard on this. We're putting a lot into it, and it's because we believe in it. It's not because we think we're going to be YouTube famous or rich or anything like that. At the end of the day, I just really feel like we've got something that's going to help somebody. Now, is it going to help a ton of people? No, absolutely not. But if we're able to help 2-3 people make a difference, then that's worth it to me. I mean, and we get to have fun doing it. So, it makes a circular world.
It does. Speaking of, I'm going to give a shout out on here, and this is I don't really do this. But we can't sit here and preach, helping other people out if we're not going to do it.
It's true.
I had a guy contact me a while back about a hood, and he goes, "Hey, Mitch, we are starting to make hoods. I live close to you." He's from Dothan, or the shop is. I don't know where this guy lives, but anyway, shop's in Dothan, Alabama. And he's like, "Hey, you ever need a hood? You ever want to look at what we got, what we offer? We offer a whole bunch of different stuff. Just hit us up." And I was like, "Will do." He caught me when I was frustrated with the hood company I was working with. And anyway, so I said, okay. I called him, and he was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I said, "All right, let's do a hood. I need to know this. I need to know that. And this and that. Send me a couple of videos on how you do it." And it's a cabinet shop, but they're starting to get into the hood game, right? And he's like, and same thing that we ran into with sharing this measly little podcast, like it's going to run everybody else out of business, I guess.
Yeah.
He said, "I just got to be real careful in the group. I can't share." I understand that to a degree. You don't want the group to be a sales place, but you can have a post. If you're in the cabinet world and you make something for cabinet makers,
Yeah.
hey, here's what I sell, save it or not, go move on. You're not hurting anybody. Not my group, not my rules, whatever. Anyway.
That's why you create your own group.
That's why you make your own group. You advertise in there.
That's the only way to fight it.
So anyway, I ordered a hood, significantly less than the big guys. Here's the kicker, significantly better.
Really?
Like, yeah, the bones of it, the frame of it. These are people that have to hang hoods for a living. They don't just make them. So there's a lot of little things in there that make this sucker way easy to hang, super easy to deal with. The name of the company is Alpha Hoodworks, ALPHA, Alpha Hoodworks. If you guys are looking for a hood supplier, I would highly suggest them. They're not paying me.
We'll put a link in the description down there, too.
Yeah, we can do that. Once they're not sponsoring, I'm just helping them out.
Yeah.
They're getting going. Got the hood in. He calls me. I ordered the hood. I'm going to say this because I can't guarantee this is not for everybody, but he calls me the next day, and he says, "Are you at your shop?" And I said, "Yeah, we're here." He said, "All right, shoot me your address. I'm going to bring you the hood." This is the next day. And I was like, "Dude, you're an hour and a half away. Like, don't worry about it." I said, "At least let me meet you in Troy." So he said, "Okay."
Who is it again? Give us, who is it again?
Alpha Hoodworks.
Is that like their website?
Yep. ALPHA Hoodworks. Yeah, they got a website, they got a Facebook page, and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty neat, actually. But anyway, I was like, "Let me at least meet you in Troy." He's like, "You ain't got to do that." And I was like, "Dude, you don't have to deliver the hood to me the day after I order it, And it's probably just because they were getting started, and he really wants to get it here and let me look at it. Anyway, so I get the hood, get the liner, get the fan, all that. It's a beautiful hood. Like, you can tell it's CNC cut. There's not gaps everywhere in it. And I said, "What is your average turnaround, like really?" And he said, "Well, we really like to have the hood in your hands within 5 days."
That is terribly long.
The company
I like
was
mine
with,
around 30.
You're right. Well, the company I was with, 30-day turnaround, dude. 30 days after I order your hood, I'm gone. You have forgot the cabinet guy ever existed. You're pretty much in your house 30 days after I'm ordering a hood. So that just wasn't, it wasn't working. So anyway, I shared it in the Facebook group. That's the one, I don't know if you saw it. It was like, "This is not an ad. I'm not affiliated with this company," or whatever, And he's like, "Hey, if you want to, share it. If you don't, whatever." So of course I did. And I'm about to order another one. But he hired.
And some people jumped on that. Some people were asking you questions. And
yeah, they were asking questions. Yeah. And that's what it takes. So, but they actually hired a social media person. I think it was a young lady, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. And she's kind of making videos and posting and doing this and doing that. And so actually, I don't even know if I invited him to the new page or not. I gotta look at it. I'll do that tonight. But anyway, I don't know how we got there. I guess talking. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Kim. And, so yeah, those of you that need a hood, he ships all over the country, and it's a better product. You could hang from the skeleton on the inside, from the framework on the inside. So
Nice.
all right, what else do you have?
Well, so do we go from there? I mean, we're kind of in that same ballpark. I have a tool that I want to talk about
That's why we're here, brother.
that I'm going to have to do in the editing side of things. I'm going to have to do like a little video or picture of, because it's going to be hard to explain, but when you see it, you're going to be like, "Oh my God, that makes so much sense." And I meant to send you a picture of it before today, and today snuck up on me, to be perfectly honest with you.
I could have put it back here, big dog.
I know. I forget you have all this cool technology now. So I don't know if you've heard of a company. It's called PackableTool.com. So essentially, this fella, as far as I know, it's like one, maybe two people. He essentially makes stuff for Milwaukee packouts that Milwaukee should be doing from the start.
Yeah.
He has made an entire business out of finding the flaws in the packout system and fixing them. And I've got several items from him, but I just recently got a new one that is kind of a. I talked to him a little bit. I really want to get him on the podcast. I think he's a very interesting character. At least watching his reels and his stories and all. I've messaged him a little bit, and I've talked to him through text. But I got this like prototype for it. But essentially, what it is. So you have your screw boxes, right? Like most of us have, these screw bins. It's got like the lift up lid, and they've got multiple compartments in there to hold, divide all your screws. Well, where does that screw bin end up? Like it kind of just ends up floating around. If you didn't bring a work table to the job site like Mitch told you to do last episode,
Yep.
This thing's just kind of floating around, right? And like you just don't know. And then Lord forbid somebody doesn't strap it down and it gets kicked over.
Oh, that's
and
the worst.
All your screws are mixed up and they're all over the place, right? It is, and that is infuriating because. One, you're on a hardwood floor or something. You potentially mess up somebody's floor. Now you got to sort screws. You're not putting cabinets up because you're sorting screws. But anyway, so basically what he has created is these wings that go on your pack out stack. So it's a foldable wing. So you've got your pack out stack going vertical. And then these wings open up and your screw boxes lock into them just like the whole pack out system does. And it locks out. I mean, so now you've got these wings at eye level that you can work out of, but they're locked into it. So when you're ready to go, you just fold the wings down and they stay strapped to the pack out.
Oh yeah.
It is phenomenal. I haven't got to use it on an install yet. I just put them on the pack out this week. But they are, and they're solid too. I mean, when you get them on there, they're just solid. You can steer this thing around if you needed to.
Yeah.
But they're great. But he does stuff like, like when you buy something and they give you those, and a lot of companies do it. They give you those little cheap dividers to make like divided drawers.
Yep.
And they don't work. I mean, they're plastic. They fall around. He makes aluminum ones that slide into those slots. I mean, and you can throw pipe wrenches and stuff in between them suckers, and they're holding it in its divided compartment.
Yeah.
All
think
kinds
about
of just neat stuff. But he's like a one-man band as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
PackableTool.com.
think about getting 1.5 inch screw. Say the divider comes up, and and 1.5 inch screw sneaks in there with the 1.25 inch screw box, and you're on the install and you reach in there and you get 1.5 inch screw. I don't have to tell you the bad things that can happen if you use a screw too long.
Yeah.
In this world.
I have a rule that if it comes out of the box, it doesn't go back in.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's going to disagree with me on this, and that's fine. I don't care. But the cost of that screw is not more than the cost of running a screw out the side of something that you didn't mean to run it outside.
That's right. Yep.
I'm like, hey, don't take out more than you need. Work out of the bin. But if like drop screws and things like that, at the end of the day, I very rarely do I put them back in it's very rare, because like you said, you get 1.5 inch and 1.25 inch screw mixed up, and bad things can happen.
Oh yeah, if you're on a time crunch and customers moving into their house or whatever, and you send a screw through the front of a door that you can't make
Yeah.
because you accidentally grabbed the wrong screw or something. Dude, we have enough to keep up with.
Yeah.
We've got enough
Stained gray
potential.
top, run a screw out the top of a stained gray top, attach
Yep.
it to a cabinet top.
Yep, been there and done that. Been there and done that, dude. So, yeah, those little things may seem trivial, and whatever trade you're in or whatever you do, there are little things that you can do just make your job way better.
Yeah.
And here's a small dude, and he's like, hey, I don't know if he's really small. I meant like, he's a one-man band. I don't know how tall
Don't look
he
like
is.
a great big feller, but
Yeah. Yeah. But, and here he is. He's out here. He's like, man, there's a need. We can make this better. We can improve this. Let's go.
And
Let's
the
do
thing I like about this guy too is he is constantly posting on social media, and he's like, "Tell me what you want. Tell me what you think about this. What would make it better?" Like, he is really trying to give you a product that you want, not that he thinks you need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big key to success. And you get a pack of Skittles in every order.
A pack of Skittles?
Yep. Mm-hmm. You can taste the Rambo.
What if I go and buy, let's see, what do 3 pack outs cost? $8,000. So I get a loan.
Yeah.
And I go and
somewhere around
get
there.
3 pack out boxes.
Uh-huh.
And then I can buy stuff from him and get a free bag of Skittles.
Yes. Yes.
That math.
So if
math
you use
be mathing.
girl math, by the time you get the Skittles back, one of those pack outs somehow is free.
Right. Yep. Buy 35, get one free. Can't turn that down.
Something like that.
Yeah, boy.
But no, he is making a really great product. And I think he needs to be recognized for what he's doing. I think it's really great. Now he may be, bringing in the millions for all I know. I don't really care. I mean, he deserves everything that he's getting because he's innovating and he's making it.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with that.
I mean, if I had to look now, I really want to talk about the LaMelo being like the tool of the week, but I ain't got to play with it yet. So I'm hoping that next episode, that's all I'm going to talk about is just how the LaMelo helps me change my clothes at night. It feeds me. It tucks me in.
Yeah.
It just makes cabinets just fly together somehow.
I'm interested. A buddy of mine is really wanting me to get one.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he wants me to spend the money on it. But
that's the only thing is the cost. They are expensive. I think by the time the kit and everything. Now I think Derek went a little overboard on the clips, but I think we have a few of every clip that is made by LaMelo to kind of see what we do and do not need.
Yep.
I think you're about $3,000 in.
Yeah.
But that's diamond blade. That's I don't know why you would buy a cordless version of this thing, to be perfectly honest with you. They do make a battery version. I don't understand why you would, because it's its own battery. Nothing else takes that battery.
New construction, unless you want to take a generator or something, and
Yeah, but I don't really see the LaMelo as something that you would be using on new construction. It's kind of like a prep tool. You know what I mean?
yeah, I guess
It's
maybe
kind of
if
like
you just,
staging, like you would stage it in the shop so that when you got to new construction, you're able to just kind of snap together.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I
But
see
they've
what
come
you're
out with a
saying. Do it
battery.
in the yeah. I see.
Yeah. But they've come out with a battery domino too. Festool has, and I don't understand that either. But apparently, the European side of the market is eating it up. This is the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, but again, I don't understand really why domino leaves the shop very often. I could see it on a couple of occasions, but the couple of occasions I'd rather have a cord.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Some things I think just need a cord on it,
Yeah.
Let's see.
And that was one thing I liked with our interview with Drew. Do you remember when he was talking about tools and him kind of being like a base man? He's like, man, because he's a rigid guy. A lot of his stuff. I didn't want to derail it. I was like, man, we're really the same way. I have some Festool stuff that I like. I was like, but I have some DeWalt stuff, and I had, and I was like, and I have some Ryobi stuff that I still use. I was like, I think spend the money on the tool that you need.
Mm-hmm.
If you need a domino, there's only one way to get a domino, right? And
Yeah.
that's through Festool, and nobody makes it better.
Yep.
You need a LaMelo. LaMelo is the only ones to do that. You could get a biscuit joiner, but it's not the same. But you need a screwdriver. You need a drill. It don't have to be a Festool drill. You can go get a Hercules. You can go get a Rigid. You can go get a DeWalt. like you don't have to be like this tool loyalist, you know. And I thought that was really cool about him, you know. He's like, man, I've been doing this forever, and he's like, I'm still hanging out with these rigids, you know. I just
Yeah,
they,
it works.
They do what I need.
If it
you know?
works, it works, man. You know.
Yeah, drop your money somewhere else. You know?
Yeah, I run a little bit of everything over here.
If it wasn't for batteries, I mean, I'd probably distribute out a little bit more. I mean, I just dropped back into the DeWalt game. I almost dropped to the Milwaukee because I had a drill. I had 2 drills burn out, and I was like, man, is now the time to do the Milwaukee thing? And then Lowe's does like this battery deal. It was like 2 5-amp-hour batteries for like $250, and then you got 3 free tools with it, and they weren't like the crap line of tools. They were the upper brushless tier, and I was like,
Yep.
well, that just makes sense. I'll just stay, you know.
Yeah.
I'll just keep putting mustard in my ketchup containers, you know. But I do like the pack out containers. I mean, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I like them. We looked at some more rigid. Somebody gifted me. I can't remember who it was. Somebody gifted me a bunch of rigid boxes. I can't remember who that was. But
Must be a nice fella.
he's a nice fella. You know, they're actually hanging in there good. And buddy, we abuse those things too.
They're tough.
They are.
You do need to get a couple of the drawers though. Like
I do. That's what we were.
the
looking at.
drawers are game changers. They really are.
And
It's another world when you aren't lifting things off of things to be able to get the tools. Like
Yeah.
I mean, my pack out is all drawers. There's no boxes in my stack.
Yeah. Well, you know, we started with that Bauer.
Yeah.
The Bauer line, we just weren't impressed with. Not day to day, not every day. They're not made for that. I think, you know, if you have some stuff in your tool trailer that's sitting there for 6 months, and then,
Yeah.
you know, but the way they
Garage
locked together.
storage.
Yeah, the way they locked together was just, you know, it was too much of a hassle. Maybe they'll improve it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, the inside stuff was fine, but it's just the locking together part that you had, like, it's plastic on plastic, so you literally had to keep oil or wax on them just to keep them, you know, going. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, tell me about this dishwasher customer support deal that you went through.
I was just about to bring that up. Guys,
Okay.
guys, be careful. Trust but verify. All right, so we had a customer that ordered a panel-ready dishwasher. So that's a dishwasher that you can mount a cabinet door to and make it look like the rest of the cabinets, essentially.
Theoretically.
Theoretically. You can do the same with refrigerators and freezers and, you know, yada, yada. But the size of the door that you have to order, or the panel that you have to order to go in this thing, is critical. It cannot be the wrong size.
Nope.
So I looked online, no information anywhere. Went to the manufacturer, went to Lowe's, went to Home Depot, went to all these different websites. Couldn't find the panel size. So I've been thinking about bringing this up. You know, sooner or later we're going to have to get into some AI conversation. We don't have time to dive into it today. But so I went to ChatGPT. And I said, I have this model number dishwasher by this company. What does the panel size need to be?
No way.
Yep. ChatGPT says needs to be 22 1/8 by 27 7/8. Can't be any smaller, can't be any bigger. Okay. So I wrote that down. Called the manufacturer. Stayed on hold, typical 15, 20 minutes. Got somebody who could not really speak English and said, I have this model dishwasher. I'm the cabinet, maker. I have to order the panel. What size does it need to be? Oh, hold on. I'll get you over. I gotta go talk to tech. I gotta get tech support. I'm like, why?
I don't need to know how to wire it. I just need to know.
Like, why don't you have it? I said, it's not on your website. I went to multiple websites. Your own website is not on there. It doesn't exist.
What brand is this? Do you remember?
Frigidaire.
Really?
Yeah. Frigidaire. Yeah. Not
That's
on there.
unusual. Yeah.
So she comes back and she goes, all right, it needs to be 22 7/8 wide. And I said, okay, that checks out with ChatGPT. And she goes, it needs to be 34 and a half tall. And I was like, ooh. I said, you sure about that? Yes, sir. That's the height.
That
I
math
said, okay.
don't math.
Math
My
ain't
cabinet's
math.
34 and a half tall.
Right. So I go back to the installation manual, and the door, it doesn't give you the height of the door. It gives you the overall height of the dishwasher, right? 34 3/4.
Right.
Or 34 1/2, whatever it was. If I would have ordered that door, it would have hung down so far past the front door when you opened it, right? So a dishwasher is hinged at the bottom. That door would have come back and hit the toe kick of
I
the
just
dishwasher.
had that happen. I just had that happen on an install.
Right. I said, there's no way this is right. I had to call Frigidaire back again, wait on hold another 30 minutes, got another person who can't speak English, and I said, gave him the whole story. This size, it cannot be right. Looking at your drawings, looking at your specs, it can't be right. This lady, okay, hang on, let me go find somebody. I'm like, I told her, I said, lady, y'all need to have this written down. This is pretty important information if you're
Yeah.
selling a panel-ready dishwasher. Need to know the panel size. No, they're not universal. No, they're not all the same. There's no standard, you know. She comes back and she goes, all right, I went to the engineering department and came back, and here's the number. It matched ChatGPT.
Really?
ChatGPT had it in 3 seconds, and it was correct.
But how do you know you can trust it?
But
That's the
you
hard
know-
part.
Right. You have to verify it. And I'm like, and I told her, I said, you guys, y'all have to make this a big letters. Panel rated dishwasher model ABC123, panel size this big. Like, it needs to be in the description. That's how important. It's a panel.
Every
rated
one of them are.
dishwasher.
Every one of them are hidden. Every one of them are hidden and working, written weirdly. The one that I just had, it had two sizes. It had an XXL and an XL door.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't understand this because the dishwasher can only be so tall, right? I mean, we can't, cabinets have a standard height for it. I was like, I just don't. I was like, whatever. And the model had an XXL in it. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to make it to this XXL spec. The only thing that stopped it from hitting the toe kick as it swung in, like you were talking about, is it had a vent for the steam vent that was sticking out of the front that it was supposed to sit on top of, but it couldn't because it went past it. The only saving grace I had was that this was a slab kitchen and it was an MDF door.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Trax saw it got and mounted it did. And I say, don't run this dishwasher until you get the bottom of that back repainted.
Yeah.
'Cause they had parts that had been through paint and come back. And I was like, don't let the steam get on this until you've sealed that bottom up.
Yeah. That.
And then 2 weeks later, I go back to the house and they're like, I was like, y'all didn't remember to get that paint? It's like, it doesn't steam. I was like, oh, so you just decided to run the whatever, roll the dice. I mean,
That lady wanted that. Remember that hood I did with the brass overlay on it?
yeah.
I told her, I said, listen, this is real brass. This is not brass colored metal. I said, don't touch it with your fingers. Don't fingerprint it up. And I said, you really need it. Like, she wanted it lower. And I said, can't. I said, you have to maintain 30 inches above the range for a standalone hood.
Yeah.
We had that one at like 34. And I said, lady, if you have 2 pots of boiling water, do you have any idea the heat and the steam that's going to be all over this hood and all over that brass? I'm like, just trust me. I'm not coming back to fix it if it's water damaged or anything like that. You know, she had a 36-inch,
Yeah.
range. I mean, that can put off a lot of steam and grease and whatever else. And so
Well, I had the same
knows?
opposite with this same house. They kept wanting to pull it higher and higher and higher. And I was like, hey, your fan's only so strong.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know we put a 60-inch fan over a 48-inch stove, but, I mean, you got 8 miles of hood up here, but, I mean, it's got to be within some kind of range of the stovetop. I mean,
The other gripe I have about, because we have to do all this, and that's part of the price you pay for cabinets,
yeah.
is me sitting here at this computer looking up every appliance, every spec, but not just on one web page, right?
Oh, yeah.
'Cause they'll give you the wrong answer.
Yeah.
Cross-reference, multiple web pages. Okay, I've got 5 websites that are telling me this thing is this wide and this tall. Wine coolers are the world's worst about not
Yeah.
telling you what they are,
Especially like an Amazon or a Walmart one. The dimensions
Exactly.
are
Yep.
terrible.
So, how much does it cost to make a freaking PDF, dude? Like, is it that expensive to generate a PDF? I've never had to pay for it.
I think they charge apparently by the character on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. If you
I
sell,
don't understand it either.
and we're winding it down, right? I get that, and I'm trying not to get my blood pressure up. It's what we deal with. We have to research all your appliances to make sure they fit in your cabinets. If you sell,
And you can't just change appliances midstream and it be okay.
no, you
That's
cannot.
a problem. I'm just saying.
If one opening on the wall changes, the rest of the openings change.
Yeah.
Like if one opening changes by 16th, the rest of the openings on that whole wall, in order to keep symmetry, have to change. If you're selling a oven, and I go and look up the model number, hey, manufacturers, this for you. Only put the freaking model number that I searched in your manual. It's like this manual covers the 30C model, 33C model, 32C model, right? And they're all different sizes. So
The -1, the -2, not the -3, but the -4 is in this one.
yeah, and then way down here in the bottom, because she got the -6. So
Yeah.
way down here in the bottom, if you have the
Annotated
-6,
note.
yeah, way down in like Chinese. If you have the -6, none of this applies to you. Your opening is this size. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's way down here in the bottom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, if I type in a model number, just give me the info on this model number, because now you're making it 4 times as hard. I've got to go through all these measurements. And you know the tables that are down there on the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
That gives you A, B, C, and D for your cabinet opening, and then you got to look at your model. It's like freaking working a graph or something down there. And
It's
I'm
like a Sudoku puzzle.
it is. And I was like,
I mean, I got color-coded lines, like trying to see where they intersect, and then if they cross over, and I get my orange and my blue is now a purple. I'm like, oh, that's the box I want,
yeah. Oh, that's my cutout. But if you have this, and then the little ones is like, oh, you got to allow this much clearance above it, and this much clearance below it, and this on the side. And if we mess that up and build that cabinet wrong, and it's stuck in between a whole wall of cabinets,
Yeah. Everything's wrong.
that's a bad day.
Yeah.
That is a really bad day.
Building cabinets is just boxes, but by God, them boxes got to be the right size.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
you should have been. I wish you'd have been here the other day. So I've got a laundry room in my building, and it's relatively straightforward, right? Except for the wall in front of the washer and dryer is a 45-degree angled wall. We're stacking the washer and dryer, and they're tucking inside of this cabinet.
Ooh.
But they've got to tuck and swing that 45-degree wall. I had a 1-to-1 printout of the floor print on my desk. I had a 1-to-1 scale rectangle for my washing machine. I drove that thing through that model about 50 times and like marking the edge of it every time, like, and changing the angle and marking the edge, because they didn't, they don't want it. And I get it. When it's in there, you don't want it overly loose looking. You want it to look like it was built in.
Yeah.
Which I can very easily do. Put the washer machine dryer where you want it to. I'll drop the fridge over. Drop the cabinetry over it. And then if it breaks, not my problem, right? But no, we're not going to do that. We're going to make it where you can get the machine out if you need to as well, But, I mean, I'm driving this on paper, for, like 40 minutes, and Derek's like, do you think we're good? I was like, I feel about 90% positive of, the opening being like, we've got a half an inch to spare.
Yeah.
When we're driving it in there. He's like, well, that's what I like to feel. I like to hear 90% confidence. I was like, that's literally where I'm at right now. I mean, but I have drove this thing. I actually called my engineering major daughter, like, make sure to double check my math on this scale. I'm like, just you do math a lot better than me. Like, can you just double check my scale? Because I can print it out fine. It was actually my scale for the washing machine that I'd cut out myself. Yeah. Like, well, make sure that I got this right. And I did have it right.
Credit.
Which she geeked out. Like, she's on FaceTime, like, watching me. And, like, every time I'd give her a number, she'd recheck the math real quick for me. And recheck, I was like, oh, I think I can get a little tighter. Hold on. Let me steer it again. And it's really hard because I mean you got your hands in the way and you can't really see. But I mean these are the things that we do to try to give a good product to the client. You know,
Yep.
and I mean there's just a lot more to it. You know, I've got a bench seat coming up that I'm not gonna lie, I 100% the architectural work on the computer side of it. I farmed it out.
Yeah.
I said I can pay a guy for 2 hours of draw time to do this while I'm making money in the shop, or I can sit in here and beat my head on the desk for 8 hours trying to draw it.
Right.
I was like, I'm farming this one out. Yeah,
Yep.
and you'll have to. I'll send you pictures and we'll post this one because it's pretty complicated. Like we're putting a bench in front of a window. The window still needs to be able to function. And it's not like a bench. It's like a bench with a back, like that tucks into a bookcase.
Oh yeah.
You know, and all this stuff just takes time. You know, I mean, I was talking to a guy on the Mosaic page earlier, and he's like, he reached out because he saw I was a former Marine. He's like, and he was a former Marine. He's like, man, he's like, Mosaic sucks. He's like, I'm coming from Canada. I was like, well, I mean, change is hard. You know, don't get me wrong. I was like, but all this software is complicated. Like it will all do it's all powerful and it will all do what you want it to do, but it all does it in a little bit different way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I was like, it is, and he's only been on it for like a month. You know, I was like, yeah, that the first 6 months of building your catalog is rough. Like it really is. Like trying to get all those custom things done.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough. I mean, your Pro 100 was rough. I mean, you got to get your catalog built up.
Oh yeah, it took me a long time to figure that one out.
You know, I was like, and it'll do it, but it just that's the design side that people just it's hard for clients to understand like what you have to go through to get that design done. You know, and we use ChatGPT a lot for like clients who need help with inspiration, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on the computer to try to get them there. So I'm like, I'll throw a picture of their space into ChatGPT and say, give me something close to this because I can get that in 10 minutes and go, is this close?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's close. Okay, now I'll start actually working on the computer
That's
side.
right.
You
That's
know?
right. Yep.
And it shortcut it that way. You know, I mean, AI can help us a lot. We just got to do it right. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
and it helps you. It's just how do you trust it?
Right. Yeah, yeah, and I've used it for a few other things that I'm going to slowly trickle in, you know, over the podcast and stuff like that. But it's it's useful as long as you don't get to where you have to rely on it to run your business.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like what you're saying, you're giving it 90%, and you're just like, hey, you know, can you give me an idea of kind of what I need to do here? It's Google.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah.
automated Google, guys. It's not, you know, it's not some other life form or something. It's just,
And a lot of it is how you talk to it. Like,
Yeah.
we were working on the podcast stickers the other night to get the Patreon stickers made. And if you did not tell it very specifically, like, it kept spelling boys wrong. I can't remember exactly what it did. It was like spelling boys wrong. And we were like, okay, we want it this way, but like we didn't capitalize it. So it would come back and we would get boys, B-O-Y-Z, but it would be, you know, capital B, all lowercase. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that's part of it is giving it instructions like it's a toddler.
Yep.
You know.
yep. 'Cause
That-
it's learning as you're talking to it. It's, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I got to do exactly what you want it to do, you know.
Yep.
I mean, like when I was doing that one today, like when Trey's square came on the logo, I was like, reduce the square by 25%. Like you can't say just make the square smaller because you could go from a square this big to a square this big. You know, you got to say, you know, I said, you know, reduce the square by 25%. I get just a little bit square. You know,
Yep.
we're learning how to use it. It's just I don't know if we can learn fast enough to catch up to it. I mean, it seems like it's ahead of us sometimes.
Yeah. And the only other time I've used it, well, I used it to help with a Patreon post, which was beautiful.
Yeah.
You asked me, you're like, who wrote this? And I was like, man, I wrote it. No, I don't think so. I've known you for a long time, but you didn't write this.
I know you kind of sweet with the BS, but that was pretty blessed right there.
But, you know, I had the information. I still had to plug it in, and it goes, okay, well, Patreon usually asks for a good first post. Like it knows what Patreon wants already, and it's like, here you go, done.
Yeah.
So what I did was I actually had to have a client sign off on drawings and a proposal, or like a work order, like a contract.
Yeah.
This is for one of my regular builders, so they usually don't do that, right? We've got text messages, we've got emails, I got all the proof I need, I got the builder, whatever. We've never had an issue. However, I brought it up, and I was like, I'm thinking about having her sign off, because she changed it every 2 days. Like, I would hit go on the drawings, and she'd be like, oh, I changed the oven. I found a cheaper one. I found a better, whatever, So I took the drawings, the model numbers, and all that stuff over there, and I made her sign off on it. Well, dude, my proposals are a Word document. Like, just, It starts with a dash, and then it says the cabinets will be yada yada, and line by line. I copied it, pasted it into ChatGPT, and I said, I need you to create me a make this professional looking like a contract. And it spit it out. And it's like, by the way, would you like me to put your letterhead on the top? And I was like, sure. And here, I mean, instantly, dude, there it is. And it goes, would you like me to put your logo on the top as well? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay, well, just send me your logo. I did that. Boom. 2 seconds later, there it was. I printed it out. It looks way more professional. But again, it was my information that I was putting into it. It had the information. It just organized, changed a few words, whatever. Yeah. And organized it. So I think it's going to have a place. It's not going to replace a table saw, and it's not going to replace, a man or a woman down there.
Somebody was in one of the cabinet pages the other day saying AI was going to take over cabinetry, and I was like, I don't see that. Like,
AI cannot drill chef pin holes, so
I just don't see it.
I don't think so. There's always going to need a human touch, but it is useful if you use it in the right way. I think
it's just another tool.
I think it's fine. Yep, it's another tool. Instead of me calling Travis going, hey, man, does this look like I'm, don't have any sense if I put this in? And he's like, dude, that's, stupid looking.
I like to use it to make our little characters do all kinds of crazy things.
Oh, it's so fun, man. That's so funny.
Now, sometimes it's got Mitch's arm twisted. I see him one the other day. I said, I didn't know you were double jointed. I told ChatGPT, I said, make these two characters, show me these two characters building a cabinet. And for some reason, one of them was checking to see if the floor was level, and Mitch's arm was on backwards, like he was somehow drilling a.
Hey, but we were happy in it though.
Oh, smiling like
we were
crazy.
Smiling.
Just as happy. Well, I think because we're smiling so cheesy in the logo, like it just keeps that cheesy grin.
And then
going,
that one you said, use these two characters and make it put
the
cabinet on a trailer.
Oh Lord!
And the trailer's 2 foot by 3 foot, and I got sweat just pouring all off my head, and you're just out there.
And I'm touching the cabinet like this to help, And the cabinet is this big, know. I'm like, why is he straining so hard on that cabinet? And why does it need two of us?
And it was weird, frameless inset overlay, full overlay.
I don't
cabinet,
know what it.
I
don't know what it was. It was a cartoon. It was so. Well, man,
anyway.
I guess we better start wrapping it up. I'm getting the signal from the producer over there.
She's still awake?
Well, it's mostly just her nodding off. She's not really giving me a good signal, but
that's
late.
Signal enough.
It is late, but we got a busy couple of weeks coming ahead, so we wanted to get some recording done so we could be out on time. But man, it's been so much fun to sit down and just kind of review things. This season is just, I think it's just going off without a hitch, and it's right on track with what I wanted it to be at this point. I'm just so happy to be here and to have it fired up again, and to have listeners come back. And man, the support we've gotten has been unreal. The hats are coming. I promise you. I finally pulled the trigger on a brand today. I paid the money today. I'm just waiting on the proofs to come back, and they're coming. I think I have 8 of the 12 spoken for. So, yeah. So, if you want one, shoot me a message. Offcuts@styleboys.com. Shoot me one on Instagram. Shoot me one through Patreon after you sign up. Put a comment on the YouTube channel after you've watched the the show, it doesn't matter to me. I'll earmark you down, and then when I have the hats in hand, I'll hit you up for some money. It's that simple. You know,
and
but that is a great way to support us. We really appreciate that.
Yep. Thanks again, Will, Larry, Wesley, Trey. Thank y'all, man. We really do appreciate it. Like and share. Y'all know the drill. Share it. And you can let us know you shared. You don't have to let us know you shared it, whatever. We just trust that you're doing it. You know, do the right thing. Do the right thing.
We'll see it.
Once we get over the algorithm roadblock and we have 8 million followers, we won't mention anything else about Patreon or sharing it.
Well, I want to say episode 1 of the relaunch showed 75 downloads the last time I looked at it. That's more than we have had in a long time. So we're you as a supporter are pushing it, because we can only push it so hard or we get banned.
Yes,
so that is so important to us. That you just sharing it, whether you give us $1 or for anything, the share is as valuable as anything that you do, because that shows that you're liking the content and that you think somebody else may like it, and that's a crap ton of value to us.
Well, I'm just saying. We said we were going to use some money to make the podcast better, and look at this.
I mean, we did. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is what you guys get, all right? Do you want to see me sit on the back of a goat and do a podcast one day? I'll do it. I'll do it for enough money. But it better be more than 4 of you jokers sign up. Anyway, man,
it's been so much fun. Hey, everybody, small steps, chase a dream, just start moving towards that progress. Start something new. I'll be perfectly honest with you. We're on a pretty big gym kick right now, life transition. Maybe you're not ready to start, a business new, but start a new lifestyle, start a new, a new hobby, something that finds you some kind of peace and relaxation. I have found a ton of relaxation in the sauna lately. 40 minutes of sitting in the sauna in the evenings with nothing else going, no phone. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast while I'm sitting in there, but the phone is kind of off and it's just kind of mellow. Has really done a ton for my headspace here lately. Just find something that's good for you, and wholesome, and that brings you some amount of joy. We work too hard in this world to not be enjoying it. Quit working to live, or quit living to work. Work to live.
Yeah. Yeah, and Travis hit it on the head, man. It don't have to be some big, huge endeavor. Pick up golf, pick up, wood burning, pick up, whatever, quilting. Whatever it is, find something to go for a walk.
Whittle.
Do something. Yeah, whittle. Yeah. Take care of yourself, man. Hey, my life ain't perfect.
No.
I've got my struggles. Tammy has her struggles. The kids have struggles. It's been a tough couple of years on us. These last couple of years, you got to take care of yourself. This is a way that Travis and I can have a little bit of comic relief. You guys may not think it's funny. That's fine. But we can vent and we can share and we can. It's like a therapy session. You guys just get to hear it live. And we're gonna, as soon as we hang up, our lives go on and we do the same thing. But take care of yourself. I'm going to get yelled at
for keeping her out so late at night. Things are going to happen.
Don't be stuck in a rut in your life, man. Get up.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah.
Do something.
Hey, 10 fingers, bring them all back.
Bring them all back.
Be
Remember that?
safe
Bring them
in
all
whatever
back.
you do. Just bring them all back.
Hey, throw a word in just for old time's sake.
Oh, let me get a keyword of goat rider.
Goat rider. All right. Well, there it is. There it is. Y'all send us goat rider.
Jason
message.
B, that's just for you. You get your special word back.
Yeah, there you go, Jason. Yeah, Jason B. That's for you. Yeah, text that to us, email that to us, Goat Rider, and we'll send you a sticker in the mail. How about that?
All right, everybody. Y'all take care. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, comment. Don't forget about the giveaway. We want to give that square to somebody.
Yes, sir. Somebody's going to get it, even if it's me.
All right. Later. Have a good night.
See you, man.